and welcome to another podcast, another edition, another session of chat, which is, of course, the Saints Martini. I am, of course, the Saint, and, of course, on the other line, because we are in the bug-out bunkers, as most of us are these days, is, of course, the Halo, who, of course, occasionally wears horns. How are you today?
I am good, Warren. How are you doing?
I'm doing quite well, actually. I'm doing quite well. It's a long weekend in Australia. It is Queen's birthday. You know, God save the Queen.
Yeah.
God save the Queen. I can't sing, but anyway, so yes. Even though Queen's birthday in Australia has nothing to do with royalty, it's just a day off, right? Yeah.
That's what President's Day is here, and Memorial Day, and every other holiday. If you get it off, then yeah.
Yes.
It's federal holidays. They're just an excuse to, barbecue or whatever.
Actually, pretty much. Although, problem with Queen's birthday, it's in the middle of winter. So if you live in the south in Australia, it actually opens up officially. Ski season starts on Queen's birthday.
Oh, that's nice.
But of course, not this year, because you're not allowed to go skiing. So, actually, that's not quite true. I think you are allowed to go skiing, actually. I think the laws actually say you can go skiing, but the problem with that is that there are very strict rules. You can't stay at the chalets, though.
Yeah.
So if you can drive up, and you want to go skiing, that's fine. But yeah, so it's a bit weird, a little bit weird, but also, you know what else Queen's birthday is to me, Irish? It's an anniversary. 12 months ago, tomorrow, Queen's birthday weekend, I gave up smoking. 12 months.
Oh, wow.
Officially.
Congratulations.
And I haven't
That's very good.
Oh, thank you. And I have not fallen off the wagon once. So
that's amazing, honestly.
Not even New Year's or anything like that. No, I've actually managed to stay on. So yes. So thank you. So it's an
congratulations.
Anniversary. Yes. Oh, thank you for that. Thank you for that.
Your lungs thank you for that, and so do the people around you.
They do. Well, it's not just that. Even my daughter, who is a casualty nurse. Brought up the concept as a little bit like, you decided to quit at the right time, Dad. Because it's a little bit like COVID-19. You don't want to smoke. Actually puts you at a much higher risk. A lot of people, I don't think they don't realise that. Actually puts your risk level much higher up, actually, if you smoke. So yeah. Although it does take more than a year for your lungs to recover. But,
Well, so you're almost there then.
Get in there. It takes several years for your lungs, to... Anyway, we're not talking about that. But
well, we were talking about that.
We were. I suppose it brings up an interesting point, as this show is cocktails and conversations. Actually, should we start off with what we're actually drinking for this show?
Sure. You go ahead.
It is cocktails and conversation.
It is.
I am actually having a Jura. I think it's called Jura. It's an Irish whiskey from the islands. Anyway, single malt.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's quite yummy. I don't have very much of it, so that's probably a good thing actually, because it's a bit too yummy. And what is your podcast choice for this week?
I was drinking mojitos just up until we started, and then now I have allowed myself half a bottle of wine of Pinot Grigio from Italy, because you made me feel bad that I had drunk terrible wine from Australia.
You're never going to forgive me for that, are you? You're never going to forgive me for that.
No, because you made me feel sad. But that's fine.
It's
fine.
I'm so sorry.
I understand. I was drinking trash wine. That's fine. I still am kind of drinking trash wine, but it might be slightly better because at least it's from Italy. I don't know. I'm not going to drink any more hard liquor when I'm on the show.
So what is in a mojito? Mojito? Is that?
Mojito. It has muddled. It has muddled mint and lime and rum. I think. I don't know. My machine made it for me.
Okay. The machine made it
for Christmas. Yeah, because for Christmas I got a cocktail making machine. It's like a Keurig but it makes mixed cocktails.
Right.
So, yeah, it's pretty cool and useless except for showing off because the drink pods that you have to put in it are really expensive and I might as well be buying cocktails in New York City. So, I mean, come on.
Well, I must admit,
fun to use, you know.
Oh, yeah, well, I bought myself a coffee pod machine many years ago. And I'll be honest with you, I'm now on my fourth. As in, I fell in love with them. I know you pay a lot more for the coffee. I mean, in Australian terms, if you buy the good stuff, you know, you got to buy the good stuff. It's $1 each, a pod. Yeah. I mean, they're not cheap, you know, but I don't know, there's that ease.
But you get to feel fancy when you use it, and that's the important thing.
Well, it's a lot easier than when you have to go. You've got to get the coffee, grind the coffee, right? Then you've got to put it into the thing, pat it down, put it back in, press the button, and then go, you know, and all of that, right?
I didn't know we were going to get sound effects on this.
Oh, yeah. And then, you know, build up all the pressure, and then you've got to then switch over, and then you've got to heat the water's got to be at the right thing to do the milk.
I'm exhausted just listening to you.
Oh, my God. And then after this, you've then got to clean the damn thing all down and run water through it and whatnot, right? And I get it. They make beautiful coffee, you know, a proper espresso machine. But my God, the effort you've got to go to every time you make a coffee. That's why I pay people. I go to a coffee shop and I pay to get a coffee, you know. So the pod machines have saved my life, you know, because at least it's drinkable coffee. Because instant coffee is, well, it's sewer garbage water, basically.
Yeah, there's no way I would drink that at all.
And I'm sorry, but I can't drink American coffee. No offense, but I can't. That drip filter stuff that you have, my father.
Yeah, I hear you're not anybody unless you use a French press, honestly. But,
well,
you know.
That's Australian. That's Australian coffee, right? So everything is espresso. But my father, for instance, went out and bought some drip machine from America, right? Cost him I don't know how many hundreds of dollars, right, to make. Why did you pay to make this?
Swill, basically, let me give you
right? And he goes, oh, no, I love it. He goes, it's the greatest breakfast coffee in the world. And it's like, oh, okay, all right. Well, that just shows you everyone's different, you know?
Oh, well, yeah, because sometimes I like to eat pasta in a can. So, yeah, well, I get it.
Actually, so
once in a while, you want to eat something or drink something that's just kind of trashy food.
Well, I don't think I said it on air, but I think I told you, Irish, about when I was in the army, we created this meal which we used to call kosher cooking. I don't know how the name came about, but and it was a tin of meat slop with a tin of baked beans and a tin of Spam chucked in together. Oh. And we called it kosher. And I don't know why. Probably because there was a Jewish guy in the section or something. I really don't know. And I've fallen in love with it. There have been times now, even at my age now, where I have made it. Like, I make it sometimes just for old time's sake, you know. So.
Hey, well, I understand that. My mother used to put a bologna and cheese sandwich with Miracle Whip on wheat bread every day in my lunch when I went to school when I was little. And now sometimes, even though I think bologna is disgusting, sometimes I will still eat one of those sandwiches because it just brings you back to some kind of memory that you had that was pleasant, or, you know, I mean, I try to relive that stuff through the smallest things, you know?
Well, it's a bit like I love. We joked. I think it was the first podcast we did, and we were talking. Or the second one, we were talking about a movie with Audrey Hepburn and Gregory Peck, an Alfred Hitchcock film, which I have now forgotten the name of.
Wait, Audrey? No, it had Ingrid Bergman.
Oh, Ingrid Bergman. Sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it was,
please forgive me. Sorry. But remember,
Spellbound, I think.
Spellbound, yeah.
Spellbound,
but remember, we joked about the liverwurst sandwich. Okay.
Yes.
Well, you know what I had for lunch yesterday? I had a liverwurst sandwich.
But did you say liverwurst with all of the joy that she said liverwurst with, Warren? I mean, let's be honest.
After talking to you, I have to. It's now a right. That whenever you make a liverwurst sandwich, you have to say liverwurst.
Liverwurst.
I know. It's the only way. It's the only way to do it now. You know, it's like you make the sandwich and you have to literally look at it, confront it. It's like, I love you. I am going to consume you. Oh, my beautiful liverwurst. Oh.
Okay, we're going really off the deep
Okay.
end.
So, talking to sandwiches.
Settle down. It's just liverwurst.
I talk to my food all the time. You naughty meatball. Come here, back here. Come back here. You know, do it all the time. Anyway.
I'm learning so much about you during our talks.
It's like most parents, don't play with your food. You know, my parents are there. Stop having an intellectual discussion about the meaning of life with your meatballs. Start eating them.
Okay, I have no, because my mind went right to a terrible SNL skit. Okay, so no, you have to not ever say that again, because otherwise someone's going to have to turn that into a terrible Saturday Night Live skit. That you're taking me places, Warren. I don't know.
Okay, all right. But I suppose the elephant in the room, which probably really does need to be talked about briefly,
the tangerine elephant,
is the tangerine elephant, or what do we say? The 3 Fs. The 3 Fs.
You said.
Well, the 3 Fs, yes. You know, the fat fascist fuck. I mean,
that's right.
That's what he is. Yeah, Mr. Orange, Mr. Obesity, President of Pork. I'm not too sure, you know, if we have any other. President Pedophile.
We just like to refer to him now as Bunker Bitch.
Or Bunker Bitch. Yes, I do like that. I do like that. I do like that. And so anyway, what has Bunker Bitch been up to this week? A lot. Basically
subverting democracy.
Trying to make America go neo-fascist. Wow, what an interesting week. It's like, I know last time we spoke, I sort of said, I want to play devil's advocate a little bit, you know, maybe there is two sides to this story. No, there's not.
There are not two sides.
There's not. There's fucking not. There's not two sides. This is a slam dunk. This is police brutality under the direct orders of those who govern. This is one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen in a democracy. It could be argued that, you know, through the 60s and 70s, we saw similar things in places like France. In the 1980s, we saw similar things in Britain. But this is where police and military are brought in and are openly told by their rulers, their governors, to go in hard and beat the living shit out of everybody.
Okay, well, yeah. I'm going to stop you there because, they didn't. The governors did not tell them to do that.
Oh, they didn't? Okay.
Oh, no,
Sorry.
The governors. No. We have a systematic racism problem in this country. We've had it since the beginning of time. I think, as I mentioned in our last talk, that our police forces really started as, you know, groups of vigilantes going around and finding runaway slaves. And the whole law and order thing kind of relates back to that. And we've had these things happen in this country in the 60s. With this whole, you know, civil rights movement. Representative John Lewis got his head cracked by police, and he was in his 20s on that, you know, and bridge over Selma, you know, in just different places. We've had a lot of really violent things that happened to people who were attempting to peacefully protest the systematic violence and racism that they were experiencing in our country. And unfortunately, what we're having right now is a government that we're finding out is filled with people who have white supremacist ideology, and they are working together to keep people down in this country in a way that you're really now seeing. My whole thing with this is that these police departments, everybody's saying, hey, you guys are too violent. And their response was to say, fuck yeah, we are. Watch what we're going to do now.
Yeah.
They basically are proving our point when they're going into the streets and people are protesting peacefully and they're pepper spraying children in the face. They are shooting people in the face with 40 millimeter rounds of rubber bullets, which are meant to be shot at the ground and bounce up. They're pointing them at people's faces. They are, they just attacked a couple of people that were here as reporters from Australia, live on camera.
Fuck you,
in a brutal attack, and beat
Trump,
one woman over the head with a baton.
And his bully boy, who is it? Is it Bill Barr?
Yeah, William Barr.
So William Barr. So we've got Fatso and Fatso Light, right? So the two of them are off. Apparently he gave direct orders for that to happen, right? So I've got
and then he's told 3 different stories about whether or not that happened.
And two of my countrymen, right, were assaulted by US police intentionally, right?
Yep.
And then and our representative, our ambassador, has demanded an apology and an investigation. From what I can gather, they have said, "Oh yes, those 2 officers overreacted." That's it. No apology, no investigation. That's it.
They will never.
That's
apologize.
all Australia is worth to Trump. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. So,
that's
fuck
all any
you,
of us
you
are
big
worth.
fascist fuck.
I agree with you. We all agree with you.
Yeah.
And the governors, most of them are standing up against him right now, even some of the Republican ones. We do have some that are kowtowing to him because they're ass kissers in the first place, and they were basically helped, get installed, like Ron DeSantis here in Florida. He was saying, I'll send National Guard troops up there. See, in order for the National Guard to actually do something, they have to be called in from, the governor has to send them in, and it has to be requested through a channel. Now what we have are random men dressed in paramilitary garb that don't match. The boots don't match. The helmets don't match. They have no insignias on them, and they're standing up with weapons and intimidating the public. They've had peaceful protesters just tear gassed right in front of the White House. It's absolutely crazy, and they're trying to blame people who are looting, and that's a very small number of people that are doing that. Most people are protesting peacefully, and the cities more and more people are coming out to protest. Honestly, they thought trying to put their thumb on everybody was going to make them cower away. But I'm really, really proud to say that it looks like it's really having the opposite effect. Now, I don't know what's going to happen after this, but these people are fascists. They've been working really hard to install a fascist government for a long time. And they have succeeded because we have a useless president who was installed by a foreign leader, to be perfectly honest.
Yes, I agree with that. I mean, I fully see Trump not as a fascist himself, but as he's a vessel to which fascism.
He's a rube.
Yeah, can be, but in other words, he had to find a base in order to be elected, and that new neo-fascism. It's not fascism in the way we remember fascism from the 1930s. It's, if you want to call it neo-fascism, it's a slightly different breed, but it is much the same thing. It's authoritarian rule. And,
yes, and it's filled with white nationalists,
racists, bigots, sexists. The interesting thing about the neo-nationalist nationalist or the neo-fascist movement is that, or movements, I should say, because there's, what I mean, there's not one, set ideology. And that's the interesting thing, because if you went to Germany in the 1930s, you go to Italy in the 1920s, you go to Britain in the 1930s, there's France in the 1920s and 1930s. There is a set fascist ideology, right, that everybody has. The difference between America right now, it seems to be, and in fact many other countries where these neo-fascist movements are on the rise. They're on the rise in Scandinavia, in Western Europe. They're very big, obviously, in Eastern Europe. Is that they don't. Everyone has an out. Now I don't know if you've noticed this, right? So you'll find that basically you'll have the neo-fascists. They will hate the Jews. They'll hate black people, hate Asian people, but they'll give homosexuals a free pass. Then you got the next person who hates homosexuals, hates black people, hates Asian people, hates women, but gives someone else a free pass, right?
Yeah.
They're all. Yeah. It's a little bit like, that the police will will tell you this, or criminologists will tell you this all the time, is that every serial killer has a free pass, and that's the way that they justify what they do so they can live with themselves. It's like what they do is that they'll kill 5 people and then let one person go. And because they've let the one person go, it justifies in their mind that they're good.
That they're magnanimous.
Yes,
yeah,
that's exactly right.
Well, that's because they're mentally ill.
Yes, but this is the whole thing about this neo-fascist movement. It suffers from the same delusion. Yeah. Right? Like they'll sort of say, "Oh, yeah, but I'm married to an Asian American." Yeah, but you still hate Jews, you want blacks, you want Muslims deported. You want a one-party state with no elections. No, you're a fucking fascist. I don't care if you've got I've got some
thoughts on that.
You know what I mean?
My microphone is doing a thing. Okay, sorry about that. We had a guy that was on Fox. I think he's still on Fox Business now, maybe. Lou Dobbs. I don't know if you know him.
I've heard the name, but I can't picture him, but I've heard the name. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. He is really a racist fuck. I mean, honestly, and he's gotten fired from different jobs because he was so racist. But he's also married to a Latin woman or Hispanic woman, and everybody's saying he can't be racist because he's married to her. It's like, don't you understand that there are a lot of racists married to people of other races? And it doesn't matter because they think, one, they're not the same thing. And this means also I'm not racist.
Yeah.
Because I'm married to this. So I can say whatever I want about people because I can say I'm not racist. I've had people whose children have adopted kids of color, and they were, their family is all white, and they had a child that adopted when they grew up, a child of color. Therefore, the grandfather had said, and I'm not even going to say who this was, but the grandfather was claiming that he couldn't possibly be racist because he had a black grandchild. And it's like, what does that mean? It doesn't mean anything because you have a black grandchild. It doesn't mean you're not a racist.
Yeah.
And I just get tired of people trying to justify their terrible behavior by saying it's kind of the whole, I have black friends. No, you don't have black friends. You have met black people. You don't have any black friends. Okay? That's a lie.
Yeah.
Because you're a racist and you're not ever going to have any black friends, and black friends wouldn't want to hang out with you. So I just get tired of that. We have that, throughout our whole country here. It's been going on forever. And what's happening right now, you see people pouring into the streets, and it started as a catalyst because of what happened to George Floyd, but it's spilling over because of what's happened to people time and time again. And then the media just goes on, and they we try to call people's names, we try to remember it, but nothing changes. Therefore, we have to keep doing this. And I think just the blatant way that man was murdered in the street, I think really was the catalyst for this. And I really hope to see more peaceful demonstrations, more peaceful protesters. And it's honestly the cops that are bringing in the violence. Nothing is violent until the cops show up.
Well, I'll tell you, what is it? I think we said before, 99% of protests in the United States currently have been peaceful.
Yes.
Right. Okay. People need to remember that. It's for anyone who is only seen images of fires and fights and whatnot. And if we looked at what happened when the president did his walk to the church to hold up a book, which I was stunned didn't spontaneously burst into flames when he held it. But anyway, was that group was peaceful until they were intentionally attacked by the police to clear a path for Mr. Mr. Fat Ass, to do his, that wobble he does. Yeah, because he's so fat he can't walk properly. Down, he leans at a 45-degree angle.
Know why?
He looks like he's on wires.
He has lifts in his shoes, okay? He's got lifts in the back of his shoes.
To make him taller. Right.
Yes, which makes him lean pitch forward. But he also has the beginning of dementia, like his father had. Neurological problems cause you to stand in this angle.
Oh, really?
And so Yeah, and if you see, there's a lot of people that are talking about the science behind it, but I mean, his father did this. His father went through these things. Of course, he wasn't as fat and short as his kid is now. So he wants to say he's 6'3" and like 294. Give me a break.
Okay, the man's waist gets bigger. Now, I'm not having to go at people who are overweight here. Do not get me wrong. But I'm having to go at people who tell the world that they're skinny. Yes. When you can clearly see they're fucking fat. That's what I have a problem with, right?
Yeah, the basis for this is that he's just a fucking liar, and there's not a thing that comes out of his mouth that is either not false or a complete projection.
Yeah.
Onto somebody else.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. You're exactly right. The we were actually we were telling the story there, and I can't even remember what it was. But look, one good thing is that at least some of these spokespeople for this new neo-fascist movement do get their comeuppance. You remember we saw, what was it, Milo Yiannopoulos, whatever. I just call him Milo the pedophile because I think that's a fair enough name. So Milo the pedophile, of course, had his great fall from grace, but he was another one who had his out. So he said, I've got a black boyfriend and I'm gay. Therefore, and he would do the whole camp thing. Like he'd play it like Kenneth Williams, and the whole point was that what he stood for was evil, harsh, nasty, brutal concepts of a lifestyle. But, he got his free pass because he had a black boyfriend and he was gay. Right. And it's like, and that's that new neo-fascist movement. It's like they've got their free passes, so they think they can pass in society. Well, you know what? You can't. You're neo-fascists and the world is catching up with you. The National Front fell apart. I mean, they tried to have a go at the presidency in France. They didn't get it. And after COVID-19, they've fallen apart. The neo-fascists tried to have a go in Holland. Didn't go anywhere. The neo-fascists in Australia, you know what they currently poll in the elections, Irish?
What?
3%. 3% right? They're fucking
that's
useless.
Good. You guys are like that,
right?
Yeah.
Okay, UKIP. How many fucking seats in Parliament does UKIP hold in Britain? Zero. Okay? Now, they may have been instrumental in Brexit, but Brexit's not kind of neo-fascist. There's a lot more to Brexit than that.
There is.
You're on. There's a lot more to Brexit than that. Brexit has been going on since 1066. All right, this is a long-winded thing for the British, right, or for the English, more to the point.
Right.
I'm getting off track. I'm so getting off track. Oh,
we've been off. There is no track.
No.
We've been through this.
Yes. But this idea that I don't believe the neo-fascists are going to win. And this is what I said to you. I think we need to have hope. Have they been successful in Eastern Europe, Poland, Russia? Yes, they have. But those countries have always been like that. This is not new. We think that Eastern Europe, its history is communist. It's not. Its history is nationalist, right? We tend to forget that. Right? And so they're just falling back to their ancient origins, if you like. The Russians are falling back to a czar. The Poles are falling back to when they first became independent, of having a strongman, a nationalist style government. They're falling back to what they know. I think Trump is going to get his comeuppance. Is that a word? He's going to go. You will get a centralist who will try to calm the country. And then if the Republicans can then put their next candidate up, who is a traditional conservative and not a neo-fascist, I think America can heal itself. I really do. But it's up to two things. It's up to two things. It's up to two things. One, he's got to lose. Two, the Republicans have then got to choose a traditionalist, a traditional conservative. And I think if you can do that, you guys can beat this. You really can.
Well, here's my thought on that. The Republicans have had plenty of time to stand up against the things that he's been doing to systematically break down every single check and balance we have. basically destroying our democracy while they stand idly by and sometimes help as they claim to be, oh, I'm very concerned. But I think the president has learned his lesson, as we've seen one senator who is always concerned and never does anything. No matter what they say, they still have every single time he has done something stood behind him and voted to support what he is doing. They made their choice when they stopped being Republicans and became Trump-publicans, in my opinion. They have had every single opportunity, and any of them that has even spoken out and said, well, I'm not comfortable and blah, blah, blah. In the end, what did they do? They supported him. So here's my thing. I get that people are politicized, and in this country we're very separate right now, but there's a reason for that, because every single time the Republicans get a chance to come to the center, they do the opposite. They go further and further to the extreme. So the people who stand behind Trump and the people who stand behind the Republicans at this point are the most extreme people in our country. There is no way, if Trump loses and somebody else gets put in his place, as we, believe this is going to happen, we're praying for, and at this point it looks like it's going to be Joe Biden, and he's, pretty much a centrist, and hopefully that will do something, and he's promised not to pardon Trump. But there is never going to be a time when the moderate Republicans are ever going to trust the Republicans who have done this now, because every single time what they did was back up this fascist bullshit. And Tom Cotton just put an op-ed in the New York Times calling for Trump to use the military on American citizens to quell dissent in the streets. Yes. That is the most fucking disgusting thing I have ever heard. Now, these people, we've had extremists on the Republicans for a long time, and a lot of them are getting voted out. But there's this faction in our country that will never, ever trust them again. And another faction that will never, ever do anything but fight against anything that doesn't support their beliefs. Those are the people that are with Trump now. And he's inciting them now with the people he's been instilling in the government. And, yeah, I'm worried about the things that are going on. They've been putting federal judges in one after the other, and they're like in their 30s, and that's a lifetime appointment, for God's sakes. Well, and that's going to hit our justice system like crazy. Well, yeah.
Oh, no, absolutely. One thing that I think, this is once again, I hope is a good thing, is that Trump has been calling for counter-protests to come out with their Second Amendment rights. So in other words, that means he has called for fascist counter-protests with arms, with guns. Come out with your guns.
Oh, they've been doing it, yeah.
They have, but not in the same numbers. Nowhere
near. No.
Okay, right. Which means that base of, I have my gun, give me an opportunity, I'll take on Antifa, which we should talk about what the fuck Antifa actually is in a minute, right? They're not there because they're all fucking, they're all big on Twitter, taking photographs of themselves with an AR-15 in one hand and a Glock in the other, right? Mm-hmm. But they're fucking weak as piss when it comes to actually standing by what they believe. Probably why 90% of them have never done military service. Have you ever noticed how few fucking fascists have actually done military service? But anyway, but there are a lot that have. So that's
they're right. Members of the militia.
Militia. Oh, that because it's like I'll tell you what, the French Foreign Legion cannot give training anywhere near as good as the Louisiana militia. The French Foreign Legion, they're pussies compared to the British Parachute Regiment. What about the Australian SASR? What about the American SEALs? Oh, they're nothing. Yeah. Louisiana militia, fuck me, they're tough as guts.
But listen here, here's the problem with people like that in our country who are the gun-toting militia types. Okay, they might be. Thank you, yes, and they might be 13% or 3% of the population, but those people own 90% of the guns.
Yeah, no, that's scary. That's scary.
They're in their bunkers with like piles and piles of hollow point bullets and shit. We have, he's still calling out people and there, and I should find it for you there, and I'll tweet it to you later. There is a letter going around that the Trump-Pence campaign put out that was a fundraising letter where they are literally using the language and telling people that they need to join the Trump army. And if they donate money and will stand up against the liberal mob for the president, they will get a limited time camouflage Make America Great Again cap.
Oh, fuck.
Which I swear to God, all those fat fucks are going to think is their army uniform and their right to come out and attack people. We've already had a guy that was in the streets of one of the cities that got out and had a bow and arrow that he was pointing at protesters. And they took him down because he was pointing it right at people over and over again. And they went over and took it from him. And the cops came and they got him to the cops. And then they proceeded to destroy this man's car and flip it over and set it on fire. And the cops just let him do it. So for that, I say thank you to the cops. But, you know, the thing is that these people, that Trump and his base, when Trump says things, it incites the base. Yes. That's stochastic terrorism. He says it, and then some crazy asshole comes out and says, I have to kill the enemy, and he can say, I didn't tell that guy to do that. No, but you incited him to do it.
Yeah.
So, you know, and that's what we're dealing with right now. And that's what we're terrified about because they're sending out, like, fundraising letters saying that. So, yeah, we're screwed unless we all stand up and do something, and unless the people who are actually in charge grow a fucking backbone and do something more than saying, well, I don't know what to say, I didn't watch it, when they're asked about him releasing tear gas on protesters, peaceful protesters, so he could do a photo op at a church. And, you know, they tear gassed the ministers from the church at the same time.
This is amazing too. They tear gassed. What their argument is, they didn't use tear gas; they used pepper bombs.
That's a lie.
Okay.
Oh no, that's a lie. They've already come out now and admitted they've done it.
They did use tear gas. Yeah, and it's also they're firing rubber bullets. Okay, one of the Australian journalists. There were 2 Australian journalists who were assaulted by. Now I don't know if they were federal units or if they were like Washington
Those were cops.
Police.
They were just
police,
cops.
Were they? All right.
Yeah, they were just cops. Yeah.
Okay, now the cameraman was hit with a baton and punched in the and then also hit with the shield.
He was hit sideways with that riot shield, and then
and he was also hit with a baton, and he was also punched in the face. Now, the female reporter, who, mind you, she was live on air when this happened, and I don't know if people have seen this. This is not footage taken on by other people's cell phones. This went out live on Australian TV where the camera went black while he was being beaten up, okay?
Yeah, but we did get some other angles from people's cell phones. And absolutely.
Now, the female reporter who was doing the piece to camera, she was tear-gassed. She was also punched,
hit with the
and
baton.
she was also I should rephrase that, hit with a baton, not punched. And she was also was hit by a rubber bullet. She was physically shot by a rubber bullet. Now,
and those things are huge.
Okay. Now, however, I think the rubber bullet that hit her was fired correctly, because if it wasn't, it would have broken her spine. All right, and it didn't.
So you think it bounced off the ground?
I think it was actually, in this case, that particular rubber bullet was fired correctly. However, it would be argued that there was no fucking need to fire the rubber bullets. That's the argument. Right, okay.
Right. No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Oh, the other thing did you see recently, the one that's happened in Buffalo, New York, where a 75-year-old man approached some of the police as they were coming down, and that cop pushed him to the ground as hard as he could, and he cracked his head on the sidewalk. Yeah. And he laid there and bled while the cops told another one not to stop, and they all walked over him. So that happened, and the man's in the hospital. And, you know, what happened was the other police officers, 57 or 58 members of the emergency response team, left their jobs. They quit and resigned from that response team,
right?
In support of the officers who were suspended for doing this. Yes, yes. So this is what we are dealing with. We have, like, the system in our country is, when cops are trained, they get an ideology in their brain that it's them versus everybody else. Everybody else is a criminal. and has to be treated suspiciously, but especially people who have melanin in their skin or speak another language, for God's sakes. Everybody is a suspect. And no matter what cops do, and even if there's cops of different colors, there's still a hierarchy in that sense that they'll still protect, like a black cop will still oftentimes protect white cops when they've done something wrong because they're part of that group. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. I've seen it's, and it's limited, okay, because we do have cops of color that have stepped in to stop white cops from doing something bad. There was a woman, a female African-American cop that stopped a man who had grabbed, I don't remember if he had kicked her in the face or he just shoved her to the ground like a teenage girl. And the other cop grabs him and chases him off, and you can hear her yelling at him, "Oh, no, 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 no." So there are people in the forces that will stand up to their colleagues, but the majority of the time they are protected by the people who they work with. And don't get me wrong, I am a huge proponent of labor unions, okay? But our police unions here are really a way to protect cops from having any kind of retribution or punishment for something that they've done. And even if they're fired, they can get their job back with back pay because of it, or they can get hired somewhere else. And there is never any kind of punishment for breaking the law. So we have these people that are on our forces that are doing this to people over and over and over again, and they're not even getting any kind of warnings from their.
The lucky thing is, in a country like Australia, if you have a police officer, and who we have one right now this week, while all this has been going on, who was filmed beating up an Aboriginal teenager, okay, in New South Wales. Now, that police officer is under investigation. Okay, mm-hmm. And you have to remember too, this is Australia. There will be an investigation, there will be a commission, and it will be discovered whether, because we don't know whether only there was 50% of the tape, right? In other words, we don't know what happened before the camera started recording, okay? So there does need to be an investigation. However, either way, I think the guy is probably guilty as sin. Okay, but we need to let justice take its course, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
However, is the guy guilty? Yes, I'm quite convinced. Now, when he is stood down, which I'm sure will happen, especially with what's happening at the moment, he will never work in law enforcement again. There is no secondary. He can't go to another city. He can't go to that's it. His record is fucked from here on out. The best he can do is get a job working as a bouncer at a nightclub, right?
Right.
That's it. And there's one thing I am quite proud of Australia. Once you fuck up in the whole country, not just in your town or city. You can't go and get a job in another city, right? It doesn't work that way. Your past moves with you. And it would be nice if maybe in America that could happen as well.
It would be nice if a lot of things could happen like Australia in America, Warren. We've discussed this. I mean,
but Australia's not a perfect country. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, I didn't say that.
We've had our protests this weekend on Saturday, right?
Right.
The protests, which were the Black Lives Matter protests.
Yes.
The government asked.
Thank you.
I won't say thank you, but as a nation, I will say thank you, not as an individual.
That's what I'm saying. Thank you as our nation, from me to you. Thank you for caring.
And each capital city, probably about 4,000 to 5,000 people on the streets. So that's a pretty good turnout considering we're currently in lockdown. That's pretty amazing. The government pleaded with people not to go. Basically, not saying that you should not support Black Lives Matter. The government was actually very good about this. They said, please don't go because it's not about whether you support or don't support Black Lives Matter. We don't want the second wave, and we're terrified this will be the incident that brings on the second wave. Because you have to remember, Australia, with COVID-19 at the moment, 400 current cases, of which 4 are serious. The other 390 or whatever are at home getting better, watching Netflix, okay? There's only 4 who are serious at the moment, who are in hospital. So the thing is, the government is terrified. We've made all this hard work and the protests were going to throw us back, right? So I kind of get that, but at the same time, it's bigger than this because in Australia, I'm talking too much. I need to let you get a word in.
You're
so
not.
sorry.
No, believe me, I've been running my mouth. Go ahead.
Is that Black Lives Matter is not quite the same as Black Lives Matter in America. So you've got a percentage of the supporters who are there to support you guys. In other words, in what we're saying, we support you. But within that, it's a much larger thing, and it's what's called deaths in custody, which is a big problem in Australia. Around about
here too.
Well, but it's a little bit different. It's around about 100 Aboriginals per year die mysteriously while in custody. Okay, this is not about them being beaten up or assaulted in the street or anything like that. It's once they're in prison, which is half the time for drunken disorderly or something along those lines, right? When they're in prison, they're found hanged. They've slit their wrists. Like, how the fuck does this happen, right? And it's something that has been going on now since the 1950s. All right, and it has never been sorted out. It's about 100 deaths a year. It's a major problem, and so the Black Lives Matter movement in Australia kind of takes a dog leg and is about deaths in custody, and it's why Black Lives Matter in Australia you will always see represented by a flag. I don't know if you've ever seen the Aboriginal flag, but you'll see everybody is carrying the Aboriginal flag. Because that's what it's about. Because you've got to remember, African-American Australians, we're lucky if there's 0. I don't know what percent. I mean, I still remember Chelsea Handlerson saying when she came to Australia, we're all the black people. And it's like, Chelsea, there aren't any. We didn't have fucking slavery. Right. So there are no black people.
So the Aboriginal people are treated like that.
Right.
Now.
So the Aboriginal people, depending on how you view it, anywhere from 1 to 5% of the population. It depends on how you view it. Like, for instance, if you've got to go back 7 generations to find an Aboriginal, are you an Aboriginal? Right? In
America, it's the one drop theory, so yeah.
Yeah, and I hate getting into this because then you get into this fucking Nazi concept of eugenics, and I never want to go down that path. Do you know what I mean? My attitude is very, very simple. If you associate with a culture, you are that culture. However, I can't turn around and say, I'm Canadian. No, there's no connection, right?
I mean, you could say that all you want, but you tell everybody I'm a cupcake and sit in the oven all day, but that will never make it true.
That's exactly right. But the whole point is that if your grandfather, let's say, I don't know, let's say that your father was black and your mother was white, okay? It's up to you how you decide to call what you call yourself. Now, you can call yourself white, you can call yourself black, you can call yourself mixed. It's up to you. It's not up to anybody else to tell you who you are.
I agree. Absolutely.
Rant finished. Sorry.
No. I was going to say, you guys have this thing going on there where they're committing suicide, or they're, it looks like they're committing suicide in jail, and nobody knows why that's happening. We also kind of have some parallels to that going on in our policing, specifically with a woman, and as an example, named Sandra Bland. And back in 2015, she was arrested during a traffic stop for something, and they took her to jail. And within 3 days, they found her hanging in her cell, and they ruled it a suicide. And it was some mess, and nobody believes really that's what happened, but that's still what's going on. And it's just over and over again, we have these issues in our country where things like that happen to people of color once they're taken into custody. And it's a perpetual problem. And it's going to take not only a reforming of our justice system and our policing, but also our school to prison pipeline, which they have in place now, because they basically make sure that, some kids, kids of color especially, they have cops in our elementary schools, and we have these instances here in Florida where they've taken 6-year-olds and put handcuffs on them because they were acting up in class. You know, first of all, I don't think cops belong on properties that are schools. Why do they need that? You know, I understand we have issues with guns here and mass shootings on school campuses. Maybe deal with that issue as well, but we have to make sure that we don't have police officers in our schools treating children as though they are criminals from the time that they're in elementary school. And then making sure that they're not taught properly, or the schools that they go to don't have enough funding, so that they end up in a situation where they have little to do but get involved with people that might, you know, in the long run help, you know, get them into crime and things like that, in a way that puts them into private for-profit prisons that our country has, which our government has made deals with to make sure they stay full to a certain capacity so that they can make their money. I mean, I'm sorry, I don't know how anybody thinks that that's a healthy way to have a country. Those and people who go into our prisons, they don't have rehabilitation or any kind of classes to help them come out and deal with being in the world and being productive members of society, because they want them to reoffend, to go right back in, because that makes those private prisons money. Yeah, and this is a terrible problem.
You can't a prison. I'm lucky. I come from a country that doesn't have such a system. The prisons are run by the government. But no, you can't have a legal system for profit, right?
I agree.
It's in fact, a legal system should lose money every year. That's the whole point of it. It's a public service. It is not This is the thing that really, oh no, don't get me started. I'm going to go down my, because I wanted to talk about something. It's on part, but that is that you and I, Irish, officially have been labelled by the US government, if the presidency, if the White House is what is referred to as the US government. We're now officially terrorists. How do you feel about being a terrorist? It's interesting that I'm now a terrorist. My company doesn't seem to have a problem with it. My government doesn't have a problem with it. But apparently I'm a terrorist. So I'm just wondering how you're coping with being a terrorist.
I'm pretty fucking psyched about it, man.
Yeah.
Honestly. I mean, because let me say something. I mean, they want to label Antifa as a thing, you know, and there was, honestly, the best I've seen to describe what Antifa is, when they say it's this terrorist organization that's worldwide and they're sending people here and there. And it was somebody's tweet. And right now, I wish that I could remember who it was. It was not mine. But they said that Antifa is an organization in the same way that the people who hate the Dave Matthews Band is an organization.
Yes.
Okay.
That's brilliant.
And I remember a time during World War II when everybody hated the Nazis that the entire country, basically, save a few people, was all Antifa.
So I want to get this right.
Antifa is anti-fascist.
So I want to get this right. President Roosevelt is now a terrorist. Who was
all of our troops from World War II are now.
Everyone who served in the Second World War from the United States is a terrorist. All British. Free French, all terrorists. Polish Home Army, Polish Free French, terrorists. Australian military in the Second World War, all terrorists. So I think
organized terrorists.
Was it you that? Yes, because they were organised under one banner. So yes, they were actually organised terrorists. So now, I think, was it you that posted the photograph of? I think it was a British landing craft with its doors opening on Gold Beach at Normandy, saying, "Watch Antifa in action," or something along those lines.
Something along those lines,
It was, yes. You know what? If supporting the concept of what Antifa means, which is anti-fascist, now makes you a terrorist, then I'm a terrorist and I'm proud.
Yeah, you know, I'm Antifa because I'm
seriously what it
definitely anti-fascist.
Yeah, because that is all we are talking about. Antifa is not a group. You can't pick up the phone and go to directory assistance and say, please put me through to Antifa. But there is no Antifa website. Okay. Antifa is
that's not true, because did you hear that on Twitter they caught a white nationalist
white supremacist group,
who were like putting out Antifa things and saying that they were Antifa.
We are Antifa, and here is the phone number. It's like, for fuck's sake, does anyone fall for this shit? Antifa is just a terminology. It just simply means if you are Antifa, it means that you are anti-fascist. That's all it fucking means. It's not a group, okay? It is not like Al-Qaeda, right? Which is a fucking group.
We created, thank you.
Yeah, well, I know. Maybe that's a topic for another podcast, but
I'm sure that it will be, yes.
Antifa is just an ideology, which means that you are anti-fascist. Antifa is not a group that wants to overthrow the fucking government. They've no concept of overthrowing the government. All they are is anti-fascist. They just want to stop fascism. That's it.
Here's my question, Warren. Here's my question. Settle down. Breathe. Breathe. Okay.
Have a scotch. I'm just thinking about the big fat fuck pedophile orange mango. And he is a pedophile, by the way, too, in case anyone didn't know.
That is a whole other thing. Yeah. But wait. Okay, because I want to know, and our country has been for so long, especially when Barack Obama was president, we had those Tea Party fucks out there in those tricorn hats talking about patriotism and blah, blah, blah. And all these 2-a-minute fuckers who said, I have to have all these guns to keep a violent, oppressive government from taking them.
Yes!
Okay, where the fuck are they right now when we actually have a fucking oppressive government that they should be fighting against? The ones who are taking away our constitutional rights. And where are they? They're nowhere. You know why? Because they don't have the capacity for abstract reasoning and thought. They think he hates all the same people that I hate, so woohoo, we're just going to keep supporting him. Well, what it shows me is that the entire time that shit they were saying meant nothing. They were just words. Those people are not patriots any more than the Confederate Army, who were seditionists in our country, and those fuckers are still flying their battle flag proudly.
It's the American
end of rant. That was my
no. Actually, my argument right now is that if you were alive in, when was the American Civil War? 1861. Is it around that time?
65. Right, it was kind
of. Okay, if you were drawn up into the draft of the Confederate Army because you lived in Alabama, I'm not going to condemn you in the same way I'm not going to condemn a German who was conscripted in 1943. I don't think
that was a draft, Warren. That wasn't a draft. That was all volunteer.
Were they? Really?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, well, then I take that back. Then you're just the Waffen SS, aren't you? Well, if that's the case, they're just the SS, right?
Well,
because they're political soldiers, if that's the concept.
Well, that's what they were. They were supporting the Southern way of life, which was our entire economic basis
based on racism and slavery.
Which is what capitalism turned out to be in the end, so, you know.
Oh, but don't throw us in with that lot. I mean, Australians are still capitalists. We don't believe in that bullshit, though. Do you know what I mean? I mean, we had convicts to do our slavery, you know.
I just wanted to throw that out there.
I know.
Just ignore me because I've had...
No.
I'm on my last glass of wine here, so...
No. Pace yourself. You'll be pace yourself. It's hey, there's always another bottle in the fridge. This is the thing. I mean, I find it, amazing. How do you make Antifa a terrorist group when there is no fucking group? Right? Well, that's the thing that I find amazing,
But if it's a broad definition without any real concrete definition, then anybody you say is your enemy. You can label anybody as that then. Yeah. So therefore, anybody who dissents is the enemy.
Yeah.
Is a terrorist. Therefore, we're all terrorists.
It's amazing. Well, you know what? I cannot believe I am saying this. I'm proud to be a terrorist.
Fuck yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
Antifa rules.
Yeah. I mean, how the
Punch
fuck?
a fucking Nazi. That's how I feel about it,
That's
honestly.
the thing. You're being, I mean, this whole idea, and this is the other thing too, right? So if the concept of the Trumpian neo-fascist New World Order, and I know that he doesn't believe in any of this shit. He's just a vessel. I mean, I understand that. He's a vessel using it, right, for power and money. I get that. Yeah. He's a grifter, right? You know, I get that. But the whole idea is that if to be Antifa is to be unpatriotic, that means that the government is fascist. By pure logic, let's do a Mr. Spock. Okay, Captain. Jim, the engines can't run. Oh, Mr. Spock. What? I can't do it.
Wait. Was that Mr. a Scottish? Were you trying to do Scotty there?
I don't even know. I'm drinking scotch. That was close enough. So, but it's like William Shatner's like, Mr. Was it? Bones. I don't have. I can't do the voice. But it's like, but by pure Vulcan logic is what I'm trying to say. Is that if you are anti-Antifa, does that make you pro-fascist?
It does. Didn't I say that on Facebook? I think I said that.
I think you did, actually.
I did, yes, because, if you are anti-Antifa, which is anti-fascism, then you are a pro-fascism. Yeah. And how in the fuck is that American? That in and of itself is anti-American based on our philosophy and the things we claim to be. So how can being anti-fascist be anathema to what America is? It can't be. We can't be terrorists. They're wrong. They're labeling us as terrorists because they're trash.
It's an easy out, I think, is what it is. It's an easy fix. It's a catchphrase. It's like build the wall. Build the wall. Who's going to pay for it? Mexico. I'd still want to see the accountancy receipts from that too, by the way. How's that going with Mexico paying for the wall? I'm just curious to know. Have the receipts been released yet about Mexico's financial contribution? Because I believe it must be vast. It's been 3.5 years. They must have forked over millions by now.
They sure did. You know what? They've actually installed more fencing around the White House in the last day than they ever have on the border. But they did go down and destroy a monarch butterfly refuge. Oh. And they also went down and put some shitty wall up in the middle of nothing that was privately funded, honestly, because he didn't really get any stuff for that. But actually went in an area that went right over a Native American burial ground. So, yeah.
Can I ask you something? This was something that was put to me actually a little while ago, and then we're going to have a quick break after this. We're going to come back with a different subject. But you remember the Charlottesville, fiasco, disaster where once again Antifa people were so bad because they wanted to stop not a neo, because we talk about the neo-fascists, which is what Trump's people are, right? But the actual fucking neo-Nazis, the ones which carrying swastikas, people, right? Oh yeah, well they still vote. Well, it's a little bit like it's like that old argument. What is it? Not everybody who voted for Trump is a racist, but every racist voted for Trump. Yes, exactly right. Yeah. So now, when that was all going on, and then the neo-fascists decided that they would bring out their own defense force. So they all came out, with wearing camouflage. Because, of course, desert camouflage works beautifully in urban areas. Just for anyone who's never had any military training, what you want, or jungle camouflage designed for South Vietnam works perfectly in Orlando, not Orlando, in...
we have them here too,
in Charlottesville, So just remember that if you want to, if you're a neo-fascist and you want to come out with your gun, your camouflage, most definitely, let's try. What about Lithuanian camouflage? That'd be a good one to try. You haven't tried that one yet,
what they want you to know is that they could hide from you if they want. But they won't, because they want you to see their big guns. So,
they're big guns. Oh, yeah, they masturbate over those, I believe.
You know what cracks me up, Warren, is that people like those people think, and they make fun of people like me on the other side of the fence, and they say, you guys are going to get it because you don't like guns and everything. Like, you know what? I love guns. Let me tell you something. I love
guns. We've had this conversation before about how much you and I love guns. Yeah.
I love to shoot, okay? Yeah. I do. I have 2 single bolt action rifles and 3 handguns, okay? I keep them in a locker at the gun club where I use them to shoot things, okay? I do not keep them in my home because I don't think someone's going to break in here and try to hurt me. And if they did, I have other ways to deal with that. But I don't carry a gun around when I want to go to Wendy's because I don't think that somebody is going to attack me while I'm ordering a cheeseburger. But by the way, I said Wendy's, but I will never eat there again. They just gave $400,000 to Trump's campaign.
Oh, fuck, so, really? Oh, okay.
And they were kind of trash anyway.
Okay, can I just say something then? Fuck Wendy's, don't go there. All right. Okay.
You know why they suck, though, even before that, is that they started putting bread and butter pickles on their burgers. And what the fuck is that? Okay. Like, I don't want to eat that stuff. My grandma made those and put them in jars, and they were great. But you don't put those on a burger. I'm sorry. That's the end of my rant.
I love guns. All right, we've had this discussion before. I was in the Australian Army. Okay, biggest gun I fired is an 86 millimeter Carl Gustav anti-tank fucking rocket. Oh, okay, Lord. All right.
Okay.
Fuck it's fun. Fuck, it's fun, right? Okay, you come out of the back.
I get it.
You come running out of the back of an M113 carrying one of those, and you think you're king of the fucking hill. I'll tell you that much. So
I'm sorry, I snorted and that was awful.
Tank, 800 meters, front, object. Great. Anyway, I won't go through. Anyway, so, but what I'm saying is, I love it. Okay, and before Australia changed their laws where you're only allowed to have pistols run through gun clubs or single shot, lever action or bolt action rifles, and that's basically it, right? Or shotguns, which are limited to 5 rounds, or over and unders or side by sides, right? And that's the laws basically in Australia, right? Now before that, I had M1 Durands. I owned an M1 carbine. I owned an SKS, right? I owned all sorts of rifles, right? But when the time came, I did what the government said, and I went to the police station and I handed them all over, right? And I can, and of course, what you do is you got a receipt, like a chit. They call it a chit note, right? You got a chit note, and it would come back, and then about I've forgotten how long it took, probably about a month, maybe 5 weeks. A check arrived in the mail from the Federal Treasury, paying me for those weapons. Yeah. Well, that's you didn't just give them away for free. The government bought them, right?
Right.
And so anyway, so you handed them all over and you got your money back. I still remember I was in the police station, and I can still remember and the desk sergeant. Well, I'm sure you have the same thing, desk sergeant, the guy or girl who is right, and he had and I had a Russian SKS, right, which had a bayonet, a fold-in bayonet on it, right?
Okay, yeah.
And he gets that and he goes, oh, an SKS. He goes, yeah, but he was obviously he'd been in the military as well, and he flipped the bayonet out. And he goes, oh, I'm going to keep this around the station to keep the young constables in line. And he goes, hey, Philip, come out here, right? And so this constable comes out, right? And he's got this SKS, right, with the bayonet out, this rifle with the bayonet. Right? He's poking him in the bum, and he goes, work harder, mate. Come on, work. He's doing this in front of everybody, right, in the station. Australia, very different country, right? And mind you, it was also many years ago. It was also, you know what I mean? This was in...
I do know, yeah.
1996, I think it was, 1996, 1997, whenever it happened. But... I
want to tell you how I learned to love guns, but we should probably take a break first, and then I'll tell you about my history.
We're going to take a break. And there's some other things we want to talk about as well. So we're going to take a quick break. Wow. Okay, and we will be right back. And we are back. God save the Queen. It's Queen's birthday. We are back.
Jesus Christ.
Sorry.
I hope you're talking about RuPaul. Okay.
Exactly right. Because I'm a Republican, just in case anyone didn't know. I should put that in. No. See, this is the thing. The world's not American. The world is not American. Okay.
Wait, what? What are you talking about?
I know. I'm a Republican. A Republican means an Australian that doesn't want the Queen to be the head of state anymore. So that's an Australian Republican, and they cross all genres of political thing. They probably take up the vast majority of Australians, but, you know, there's a lot of shit going on at the moment, and we're not really too concerned about that. Because
man. I want to talk about what I said I was going to talk about.
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
No.
I know. Let's talk about the Queen, but also, I promised I would tell you the story.
In the break, I said, straight back with your story. And as soon as we come back, what do? I digress before we even do it. Fuck you, Warren. You're an asshole. All right, please continue.
Can you not, keep me from abusing you by abusing yourself? That's just wrong.
I'm an Australian. So that's what we do. We're like Canadians.
That from me, friend. Okay.
We abuse everyone. Australians, we can't do anything without swearing, abusing. Just who we are. We're Aussies. That's just it.
Look, I'm going to be honest with you. I am not Aussie, but fuck is my favorite word. It has so many uses, and I shouldn't use it most of the time because people who are around me don't appreciate it the way I do. But
I'm sorry. When fuck me dead and fuck me drunk are in the Macquarie dictionary, you know you're an Australian. When those terms are in the dictionary, hey, we know that you're an Aussie. So we'd love to swear. Well, we love swearing. We swear everywhere. We swear in front of our kids. We swear everywhere.
Yeah, I'm going to promise I have said those things, but probably not to people in public. So we will move on.
Okay, yes. Now, you've done a fantastic story, which I want to hear.
Yeah, now I'm all on Twitter.
Do you realise that we've built this up now? This is going to be like, it's like... Anyway, sorry.
No, I'm going to talk about guns now because I promised I was going to tell the story. So settle down. Okay, breathe.
Guns.
We've been through this.
Guns, masturbate, guns,
into the nose, out through the mouth.
Guns,
there you go.
masturbation, guns, masturbation. I am a right-wing fascist. Guns, masturbation. I am a right-wing...
All right,
okay, sorry. No. We know we're not...
Wrong show.
I know. Sorry.
We've had to settle down. Okay, I'm going to tell the story because...
I'm taking the piss.
You settle down.
I'm quiet.
I know you are, and that's what's funny. But also... Okay, I'm just going to tell this because I said I was going to tell it, even though it's a weird story. Okay, so the very first time I ever held a gun was my 9th grade year in high school. That's a freshman year. It's the first year of our secondary school, basically here. I was in PE, which is our physical education class, gym. And I have no coordination. I do not play sports well. I do not run. I don't do things that require me to be able to catch a ball. In 6th grade, I was playing football with weird girls in PE, and I got hit right in the middle of my throat with the point of the football because I couldn't catch it. So, this being said, 9th grade, in PE class, I said, I don't want to do this anymore. When we were doing gymnastics and I fell off the uneven bars on my back in a room full of girls who giggled at me. And I said, what other options are there? Well, what I found out was we had what they called the Junior Reserved Officers Training Corps. It was an Army class for kids in high school. Now, I thought, I'm going to do this because I won't have to play football and I'm not going to have to do anything with sports anymore. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do this military thing. Right?
Sorry, nothing. Sorry, don't just interrupt for a second. I'm going to do nothing physically fitness orientated but join the military. I'm sorry, that's just a contradiction in terms, but I love it. Please continue.
Okay,
please continue.
Here's the thing.
No, please go on.
I was gangly with long legs and I had no coordination.
Yeah, okay? But I'm sorry, I just had to say that, but go on.
No, I agree with you. Now, but I mean, think about it. This is high school, okay?
Yeah,
it's not actually military. What they're doing is indoctrinating our youth into joining the military to sacrifice themselves for the country and also somebody else's oil or whatever. So,
or a photo opportunity in Washington.
Shut the hell up, he's in our military. I don't give a fuck what those people say. Now, be quiet. Shh. No, listen. Okay. I'm telling you a story about my youth, which is embarrassing, and you need to feel bad for me.
I'm sorry. I'm so trying to take it lighthearted. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I will shut up. Okay, go for it.
Please,
go for it.
Yeah, you do that. Okay. So I joined this class for the second semester of my 9th grade year, which I did not tell my parents about initially. And I went in and signed up for it. And then I had to go and tell my mom and dad that I had joined, which they freaked out about because my parents were both born in 1952. And when I was born, they were very young and very young. And I don't want to tell people how old I am.
It's okay. No,
I'm going to go ahead and say it now because
you're not. No, you're 25. Okay. Iris is 25.
Just I am 49 years old, okay? 49. I look amazing, okay?
Yeah, well, you do.
But let me tell you something. I do.
You look 25. That's what I said. You look 25.
That's a lie. But, okay. Anyway, my
hop onto Iris's Twitter. She fucking looks amazing, all right? She looks amazing, all right? Okay.
That's the oil of Olay, 1. Good genes, 2. And also, I live in a place where there's high humidity. That's the only thing that's going on here.
Humidity state, that helps. Humidity state helps. No. Northern Australians look fucking much sexier than Southern Australians. I'm a Southern Australian. Fuck me. I got the bad end of the stick. Anyway, no. I'm so sorry. I can't help myself. I'm in one of those moods. I'm so... Go. Sorry, go.
Go. Also, just listen to me because I need attention. That's
I'm so sorry. You've got such a serious thing you want to say. And I'm just so taking the... I'm so sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me.
You do. We all do. But it's fine. Okay, so I had to come home and tell both of my parents who were so anti-Vietnam War, like so anti-war. And my dad was, before this, a German translator in the Army. He had joined when I was a few months old because his band kicked him out the day before. So he took off and he joined the military in the Army and he became a German translator. And he got all this training and did some great stuff like in training. And then he thought, I hate this. So how am I going to get out of this? And he took acid multiple times on purpose and got caught because he knew that they would kick him out of the military.
That's what my uncle
did.
Yeah, okay. A little bit different.
I swear to God.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so that happened. And after that, he got honorably discharged because of his drug addiction problem, which is hilarious to me. But after that, he hated the Army. My mother hated the Army. And I had to come home and tell them that I had joined JROTC, which was great. So there was a big blow up or whatever. But I said, screw you guys. I'm doing it anyway. So I was the only girl in my company, which was, a class. And the master sergeant used to say things to me like, why don't you go type something?
Really?
Oh, no shit. Yeah.
Fuck him.
We'd be out marching or whatever. We'd be out marching, whatever. And honestly, it was my fault. I started it because it was hot. We lived down in Naples, Florida.
Yeah, but there were fucking guys who would complain about the heat. No, fuck him.
Oh, listen, I was 13, okay?
Yeah.
And what I said was, it's hot out here, and we're marching, and I'm doing drills with this rifle, and it sucks. And I would go to him and say, can I just go type something or whatever? Okay, I started that. So later, he'd just go, do you want to go type something? But my parents were so angry at me for joining this fascist military class. Lost their shit. It was great because the only things I ever did to rebel was like my mother put a lot of ice in her drink and I didn't want any ice in my drink. And she put a lot of salt on her food and I didn't want any goddamn salt on my food. That was my level of rebellion. Okay. So joining this thing in 9th grade was like this huge deal for me, is that I did something that they were so against. But also I got to wear a cool uniform from time to time. And I got to go on a canoe trip in Florida for 3 days. All right, where I didn't have to row because I was the only girl in the company. So I got rowed around. They set up my tent for me. It was pretty great.
I can imagine there'd be a lot of guys there sort of saying, hey, I'll do that for you. Don't worry. Do you know what I mean?
It was a bunch of redneck South Florida boys. Who cares?
Yeah,
I did get to go to University of Miami, and we got to rappel off the buildings.
Yeah.
And we got to shoot a flamethrower. I did that.
Oh, did you angel dive?
No, I didn't do that. We were still in. I was in.
No. Do you know what angel diving is? You said you rappelled.
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't like that. It was like literally
you go down front ways rather than backwards. That's what I.
No, it was all backwards.
Yeah. Okay, right, yeah.
They were trying to keep us from being killed.
Oh, right,
but
okay, all right.
I also got to shoot like tons of weapons.
Yeah.
On the shooting range, and I fell in love with the actual power and feeling of it. I love to shoot. Now I'm really good at it, but there's two ways that it's going to go. I am either going to miss you completely, or I'm going to hit you in the forehead, the throat, or the groin. That is it. So this day, no matter how many times I go to the range, I literally will either miss the target completely.
You'll hit your dead center, or you fucking miss the target.
Or I'm either forehead, throat, groin, or nothing.
Well, I hate to tell you, that's military shooting. You're either take the target. No, seriously, because military shooting is based on a a spring-based body target, right? Which means you either hit the target and it goes down, or you miss it. Like, in other words, if you hit it in the far corner, that's the same as being dead center. The way the way the Australian military scores anyway, I don't know about other countries, right? A hit is a hit. There's a hit or a miss. There's no concept. No, all this concept of, targets, the center and the... no, that's fucking civilian shooting. Militaries don't shoot like that. It's hit or miss, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. That's the case. But, I had like human-shaped targets. It was literally forehead, throat, or groin. And to this day, that is still how I shoot.
It's the way we used to steal them. The targets, the human targets, the big black, right? We used to steal them. We used to steal, I can say it now, no one's going to come after me. We used to steal smoke grenades. We used to steal flashbangs.
I'm calling the cops right now.
Yeah, I know. I can still remember because I got into a group of four-wheel driving enthusists after I'd left. And four-wheel driving, off-roading,
Driving.
Yeah,
okay,
off-roading. And we used
Four-wheeling,
yeah. And we used to do that. and we would start doing things late at night. But it was a group of girls and guys, like half and half, And you're, 22 years old, This is a social experience as much as it is anything else. Yeah. Right, and we would do things, so we'd do these drives at night, and... and so you drove ahead and you get out of the car and it's a bit like, I've got a surprise. And you'd throw a smoke grenade right in front of the car coming. And I don't know if did you ever get to use smoke grenades?
Not in that class, no.
Okay,
after ninth grade, we moved to Tennessee and they didn't have gyros.
Once you move through a smoke grenade, you can't see shit. You have no idea what direction you're going. Like, you lose all... all I can say is imagine if you're walking and everything goes jet black. But it's more than that, because the smoke, it's not like going black. You lose perspective of even where you were going. And you can quite literally run into a smoke grenade discharge and come out sideways. It is really fucking weird the way it works. And we would throw them in front of cars. But it gets worse than this. My father has told me stories when he was in the parachute regiment in the British Army, right? So parachute regiment, this is the real deal, right? Okay, real deal.
Yeah, seriously, yeah.
Convoy, right? Moving up through into Scotland. Be some guy with his girlfriend, his little MG, little sports car, right? And you've got a 50 truck convoy, right? Moving a regiment, right? Okay, and of course. He's going, and he gets in, right? And then overtakes, gets in between the next truck, goes in between the next truck, right? And they would drop flashbangs out the back. Flashbangs, well, okay, because the riots, the protests, I think you would know what a flashbang is If you haven't been in the military, you will know. It does a.
But I'm waiting for the sound effect. I'm waiting for the sound effect.
I can't do a flashbang sound effect. It's kind of like a. It's like a bang. I can't do it. There's a bang.
I can't believe you did that when I said that.
Oh, sorry. I know. There's like this huge high-pitched bang which hurts your ears, and then suddenly you get the flash of all the fucking that comes. Right. I can't. Oh, I can't. All right. Was that payback for me taking a shit out of it?
Anyway. No, I've just been really impressed with your sound effects tonight.
He used to drop like they used to drop flashbangs out the back of the trucks on MGs. He goes, "Oh, I'm Lord Snotterton, and I'm driving with my girlfriend up to Edinburgh." Right, and they would drop the flashbangs out the back of the trucks. Like when these sports cars came past. So I think we've all done it. Okay, we've all done it. I've lost track of what I was even talking about.
It's because I distracted you with my.
It was one time. I still remember my father telling me when I can still remember something that happened to me in the military. I don't want to go into it, but anyway, something happened to me, and he was telling me. He goes, "Oh, don't worry." He goes, "I got arrested once in the military," and I said, "What? You got arrested, Dad?" And he goes, "Oh yeah." He goes. We had the provost come in and I said, "What happened?" He goes, "Oh, we were at a Royal Air Force like base, and they were doing because that's where they did all their parachute training, right? This is part of the parachute regiment, right?
Yeah.
And parachute regiment. Put this into American terms, fucking Rangers, right? That's the terms we're talking about, right? And he goes, and we were there, and he said, and somebody attacked and blew up the toilets, like fucking blew them up. Like fucking put fucking explosive, blew the shit out of him, right? And he goes, and we got arrested by the Royal Air Force police, right? The military police, and there was an exception that basically it was believed because they were fucking paratroops, they must have done it because no one else would have done it. What they did, but the problem was what had actually happened. It turned out at the end there was a group of Royal Marines who had been Royal Marine Commandos who had left when they had arrived, and they fucking did it, right? There was the fucking Royal Marine Commandos who done it. And he says, it's the only time I've ever been in jail. He said, it was spent jail. And he goes, 24 hours in a Royal Air Force prison. Right? And he goes, being blamed for something the fucking Royal Marine did. You know? Oh, dear.
Yeah, that's
anyway.
pretty funny, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to settle down because you're cracking me up.
Sorry, but that's our love of... Keep going. I'm sorry.
There's nothing to say. Okay. All right. What else? You said you had talking points. No. I want to hear your talking points.
I know, because what I wanted to ask you is there is... It kind of relates to what we were talking about before, and then it's like with Black Lives Matter and all the rest of it.
Okay, well then I'm not going to joke around.
Okay, no.
Let me settle down. Okay. Serious talk. Go ahead.
Well, apart from the fact that I did want to ask you before we moved on to what we're going to finish talking about, and that is carbonara, cream or no cream?
No cream. No cream.
Yes.
I'm sorry, that's bullshit. That's Americanized crap to make it go for. There is no cream in carbonara.
I so agree with you. This is the thing. I actually posted a photo of my attempt to make.
I know it made me hungry. Told you that.
It was a pretty horrible photo. It didn't.
Yeah, you just needed to adjust the lighting. That's all. Yeah, okay, so you could have just. Yeah, it looked really good.
Oh god, it tasted so good. The cheese and the egg. It's like baked in an eggs with pasta. It's so good. But cream in carbonara. Okay, I'm sorry. No. Okay, you want to find a real terrorist? Forget about Antifa. Fucking people who put cream in carbonara. That's your real terrorist. Hunt them down. Hunt them down. Come on, FBI. Come on, get onto it. Come on.
I agree with that.
Come on.
I also feel that way and about a Southern food here, and you probably don't know what it is. But some people call it polenta, and that makes it sound fancy. But it's literally in the South in America. It's just grits. Okay, I want to say that putting sugar in grits is a fucking abomination, and anybody who does it is canceled. That's it. So you got to go. You're no longer Southern.
I want to get this right. So grits is polenta. I know polenta because I'm Australian and we eat polenta. Yeah. And I think polenta is shit, personally, but that's just my...
Depends on how you make it.
Oh, I'm sorry, adding cheese to fucking shit just makes it shitty cheese. Right? It doesn't help.
It doesn't have to have cheese in it, okay? Right. Polenta is literally just corn grits. So it's like corn hominy grits. They're
yellow fucking crap that it falls apart. It breaks into... nothing. You can't even put a knife through it without disintegrating.
I don't know what the hell is going on with your polenta or / grits in Australia, but here it's not a solid form, something that you cut with a knife. Now, you can do that, which is weird, but most people make it a kind of a creamy, kind of porridgey kind of thing.
I have had porridge polenta before.
Okay, I don't know what porridge polenta is, but I'm thinking maybe polenta. You're thinking what I'm...
It's sloppy. It's sloppy. It's fucking sloppy.
Okay, yes. It's more like a mashed potato.
Sloppy.
Like little pieces in it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. You know what? Okay, now you're just hurting my feelings. No, sorry. No. I'm hurting the Italian feelings, not yours. Whatever you guys do is fine. I'm talking about grits.
Grits. Oh, no. See, I'm talking about polenta, not grits. I'm talking polenta.
Oh, honey, polenta is grits. Grits are polenta.
Okay, well then maybe the Americans do it right and the Italians are fucked, right? Because...
Well, yeah, maybe, but I don't know what you've been eating. So I can't judge that. All I want to say is that putting sugar in them is an abomination. And also, because I saw something on my Twitter feed today about people putting chili, and they made chili, and they put pasta in it. Okay?
Chili
pasta does not belong in chili.
Yeah, do you know... Oh, wow. Okay, this is a really awkward situation. Do you know I once had chilied lamb bolognese pasta?
Okay, that's different. Chili is an American dish. It is a...
Yeah.
Kind of like a stew with tomato, and beans, and... cumin and chili powder and onions. So it's like we have it in Texas, we have it all over, but there's different ways to make it.
Yep.
But you don't put pasta in it. That is not...
No, I agree with you.
It doesn't go in chili.
I would agree with you. And
but now have to
now I have to pretend not to be Australian, because you know what? Here's the problem.
Put it on.
No, I agree with you. I absolutely 100% agree with you. You are totally right. And you know what?
That's the best thing to say to me.
But there will be, no, you are. But there will be an Australian who will say, let's mix American and Italian food. I reckon what could go wrong. That will happen. They'll do it. They'll fucking do it and serve it in a restaurant.
Okay, well, they'd be wrong, but you can put
they are.
On pasta, corn, you can, and then it's called chili mac. That's different.
I agree with you. No. I fully agree with you on this. I think there are certain things that you don't fuck with. You know? I mean, it's like, you don't, you know? And I get it. Now...
You don't put lobster in macaroni and cheese. You don't do that.
Exactly right. You don't. And if you do, you're too fucking rich and fuck you, right?
Do you know here that they used to serve lobsters to prisoners? It was trash food. Oh. Yeah, and they complained because all they got to eat was lobster. And then rich people started eating it, and then it became expensive.
Do you know in Tasmania, Tasmania, if no one has ever heard of it, it's that big island.
We have the Tasmanian devil here. Yes,
it's a big island which is south of Australia, which is part of Australia. It's like the Australian Hawaii, okay? Except it's more like Alaska in real terms, right? Okay? And... they used to. It's also code for something else, which I won't.
You can't bring stuff up and then not tell me what you're talking about. It's so rude.
It's also code for a piece of female anatomy.
Pussy, what are you talking about? What are you... I'm like, what are you trying to say? Well, I said the word doesn't scare me. I don't care. Vagina. I'm sorry.
I just... Right. Some women choose to do... How do I say this? Right.
Or is it the C word?
No.
Which I will say if I need to.
It's about just general grooming of the human body. All right.
Okay. So somebody fired the gardener.
So realistically, this should not be a problem with me saying. Just that I don't know. I'm a guy and I feel a bit funny, you know. But the whole idea is
12. Are you blushing?
Yeah, I'm blushing. All right. So the whole idea is so you just let it all do whatever it fucking wants. Okay, that's fine. Then we've got but if you get rid of it all, well, we all know Brazil, right? Okay.
No, not always.
No. But it's what we call it.
You might not. You might have a little strip, but that's all I'm saying.
No. Well, that's another subcategory. But you get what I'm.
Okay. I get what you're saying. Okay.
I'm talking about the major categories. So we've got just nature intended, Brazil. In the middle is Tasmania.
Okay.
Tasmania is the well-maintained garden. If that wants to, I don't know. Was that really wrong the way I said that? I don't know.
No, I'm amused. I'm fucking highly amused.
That's Tasmania. That's what we call a Tasmanian. The well-maintained garden is the only way I can.
All right.
Right. Is that?
I suppose I've never heard that term.
Well, you're American, of course you're not going to hear that. There's not many people in Florida going, hey, I just got a Tasmanian. Whoa.
I'm going to say that now, except I would never say that.
You know, who would? I mean, seriously, who would?
It's better than the first alternative, I would suppose.
Well, that's the other joke, is women in Australia will often joke about their Tassie devil.
Jesus Christ.
So you get it? You get it? Get the joke? Right? So,
I get the joke.
So if you now hear a woman from Australia on your Twitter feed or something talking about her Tassie devil, you know what she's talking about.
No women from Australia follow me.
Oh, really? None?
No.
Oh, fuck
God.
me. Oh, fuck me, you Sheilas and fucking whatever. Get out of there. Jesus.
Let me tell you something. I don't have lots of female followers. The ones that do follow me are not afraid of strong women. People, like women in general, don't follow me.
They're not cucks. I mean, they just like powerful women. But there's
a difference. The men?
Well, no, because there's a difference between men who respect, appreciate powerful women as equals. And then there are men who are cucks who want to be dominated. There's a difference between the two.
I have I don't see any difference between them. Honestly, you say that word. That's what.
Oh my God! Oh, I love it. Oh fuck! I love you. You are so brilliant. You are
saying that is because that terminology has been kind of taken on by the right wing, and they want to say that any man who isn't conservative.
I didn't know that was political.
But
I had no idea that was political.
So political.
I had no fucking idea that was political. I thought that was a sexual term. I didn't know that was political. I had no fucking idea.
I guess it is. It is in regards to men, but honestly, I don't really see like a total variation on that. I'm just saying that.
Okay, no, I'm learning. I'm sitting back. I'm taking notes. I'm writing a book. Chapter 5.
We were talking about.
No. Chapter 5. Irish said. Sorry. Sorry.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna stop giggling.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Are we done?
I forgot what I was talking about, Warren. Because
what the fuck were we even talking about? I think we're talking about eggs.
No, I feel like we were talking about men who you called cucks, and I don't know why you call them that. What? Okay, so again, remind me what we were talking about because my wine is gone.
I don't even know. To be honest with you,
you know what? That's the story of my life. I told you my catchphrase is basically, but I digress.
Well, I think we were talking about the concept of spaghetti carbonara, but,
I don't know how we got onto this subject where you were calling men cucks. I'm just saying.
All right. Maybe because a lot of people that worship Donald Trump are cucks. I mean, I don't know.
I feel like that's a stretch to get back to something that we can both agree on, and yet that's not what we were talking about.
It's not what we were talking about, but I don't know how we got onto cucks.
You brought it up. I'm just going to say that.
But the other thing
I did say vagina. Maybe that's my fault. Well, sorry.
Okay, but the other thing, can I say something in all seriousness? To any men who are, it's okay. No, I'm not. Because seriously, can I just say this seriously? Because there was some. I know this is it sounds so funny, right? But you know what?
What?
Yes, you're real. And, fuck me. This is not.
It's my fault.
It's like it's the whole idea is to be like, I will say this because I am not one, clearly, right? But okay, ask a certain person.
I just want people to know while they're listening to this. Wait, listen. Wait a minute.
Right.
I want people to know as they're listening to this that this is exactly the conversation that I would be having with you if we were in the same room doing this right now. So I hope you guys all feel like you're sitting in a room with us, drinking and having stupid conversations.
It's just that you're physically not saying something, but yes,
I am physically saying something.
Not you. But the whole point is that cats have rights. I can't believe I'm saying this. I can't believe I'm saying this, but they do. Right? No. My whole idea is because fuck no. If I go with this seriously, I'm going to so downturn this fun conversation. I'm not going to do it. I'm just all I'm going to say.
There's no conversation. We're just talking randomly, giggling.
All I'm going to say is that if you are one and you are listening, I get you. I understand you. I respect you. I don't do what you do, but I fucking understand you. No,
what man would admit to being one of those?
No, I'm sorry. This is a bit like it. I hate to say this. This is like someone saying, I'm not gay, but I respect you because you are. I'm not going to fucking attack anyone for their belief. I'm seriously not. I know it's viewed so much as a joke, right? But I'm not going to attack people for their beliefs. I'm really not.
No, that's not it. What's funny to me is that word means something apparently completely different in Australia than it does here. And so every time you say it, I just crack up.
It means someone who has a sexual orientation that wants to be dominated in a relationship, and
so like a submissive
in their relationship. Yeah. Now, but that doesn't mean they can't live a normal life, work a job, fucking drive a truck, work as a sales rep. It doesn't mean it just means that's it. Those people shouldn't be disrespected just because of their sexual orientation.
Oh, I agree. I think all men should submit to me. All of them should be cucks. That's my opinion. But that is a whole other story.
But that's the thing. I don't want to. Do you know something? I just say it in all seriousness is that we all laugh at everybody, right? And you know, in many ways, it's good to laugh at everyone.
Oh, you know I need to laugh right now. I have had such a stressful week. Right. So
okay, but at the same time, you know, we've got to respect everybody. I mean, seriously, we do, because at the same time, yeah, we can laugh and make jokes. It doesn't mean we won't fucking be on the streets defending you.
Oh, absolutely. But I just, because the terminology is different.
I know. It's just, we live in a time where there is too much suicide. There is too much fucking, you know, because people are not being supported and respected. And I just am never going down that path where, because you believe something different, you're different. No, you're not. You're not
unless
different.
You think Trump is God.
Okay, that's different.
Right.
Then we have. If you believe that, well, then you should be I was going to say put it against the wall and shot. I'm not going to say that. No, I didn't say that.
No, ooh, that's their side.
Bad.
We don't do that.
No, we don't do that.
We just want Trump to either stroke out on the toilet or to spend the rest of his life in prison while his family struggles with never having any money or respect again. That's all we want. I'm sorry.
When do you reckon was the last time he and Melania had sex?
Oh, God, what is wrong with you? Why would I want to think about Trump having sex with anybody?
Well, okay.
I'm just going to say to you, it's been a while, okay? She despises him, and she is also a racist piece of shit and a bird.
Oh, yeah.
And
I agree. No, she went along with it. Because, one of the things that pisses me off is that I've heard people sort of say, oh, she'll leave him if he loses, and she'll become this great spokesperson, for the free America. No, she fucking won't. Okay,
she'll divorce him after he's out of office.
Well, actually, number one, I reckon she won't leave him at all. She'll hang on to the bitter end, like Mussolini's mistress, right? She will hang on to the bitter end, and she will end up hanging. Well, no, she won't end up hanging. That's not what I'm trying to say. I was talking about how Mussolini's mistress ended up. The concept is that she will hang on till the bitter end because financially she can't afford to fucking leave him, right?
Well, I disagree with that in the sense, one, I think she will leave him because after this is said and done, he's going to have a real hard time accessing his funds. Secondly, I'm sure she's done what she has to do to put stuff away.
Right.
Thirdly, I believe she...
Oh, I just burped. Sorry, you there? Oh, I think we've got a slight issue. We're going to take a quick break unless... yes, we're going to take a quick break, but you don't want to hear everything else. We'll be back in 1 sec. And we are back. Yes, we took a quick break, and we were talking about Melania Trump. I don't know. I'll just sum it up like this, right? Is Melania a racist? Is Melania a fascist? Is Melania... Yes. No, she's just a piece of shit, all right? All she cares about is money. Money. That's it. It's about her own personal wealth and the wealth of her son, who will go on to do the Melania Empire. She doesn't give a fucking flying shit about Donald Trump. It's about money. It's about power, right? She's a fucking asswipe. Doesn't matter if she's a Nazi or a fucking fascist or a white supremacist, which she probably is anyway. She's just an asswipe.
I think she's mostly just a racist and a grifter, just like most people in his family. Yeah. I feel sorry for their son, to be perfectly honest. So I hope that he turns out to be more like Tiffany, who exists in a sphere away from that family.
She's still kind of a bit fascist, though. I mean, she's still kind of supports But once again, because Tiffany is a bit like I want to be my own person and move into the entertainment business, but I still want to support those fascist ideologies of my father. Yeah,
see, the thing is, though, that she doesn't really. And, like, if you look at some images of her at the inauguration or the RNC, like, he reaches over to kiss her, and she kind of pulls away.
She backs away.
She hasn't been in his life, and he used her as a prop during the election, and since then, he didn't give a shit. She had graduated from law school recently, and she graduated on a Saturday, and he didn't say shit about it until Wednesday on Twitter when he said, "Just what I need, another lawyer in the family. Proud of you." That was it.
Fuck.
So, I feel bad for her.
Just what I need, another lawyer. I mean, seriously, fuck me, be proud of your daughter. My daughter graduated law school. Is that something not to be proud of?
No, because it didn't really reflect on him in any way. So, he didn't care about her.
Can I tell you a quick story before we go on to the next subject? And that is that I have absolutely zero support or respect for his other daughter,
Ivanka.
What basically
Bunker Barbie.
So in other words, how much plastic surgery is enough Trump, right? Now,
well, she had to be prettier, so he needed that.
So anyway, but there was one interesting thing, and I would say good thing that she did, but not good from the country. We're talking about a private family concept, right? Okay. But is she still fucking K-tell how much surgery can I have, Barbie? All right. So anyway, Tiffany, when she turned, I think it was 17 or in around this thing, applied for a credit card and had the credit card turned down because she couldn't support who her family was, right? Okay. And now, there was something very weird about this situation, and I don't really know what the fuck was going on in her mother's life at the time. But anyway, she couldn't qualify for a fucking Visa card or a MasterCard, right? Oh, sorry, I just snorted. Oh, I'm so sorry about that. Anyway,
I do it all the time. Shut up.
Anyway, right. And anyway,
I'm listening here. Yeah.
She had a conversation with, Barbie Trump. Okay, Barbie, too much plastic surgery. Although I look shit hot, I'm still a fascist Trump, right? So she had a conversation with her, and fascist Trump then rang her father and said, would you, for God's sake, co-sign or just fucking just get one and give it to her, a credit card, right? Just fucking, okay, she can't get credit. Okay, just fucking get her a credit card and give it. If she goes over by $2,000, then you fucking, have words with her and delete the card. Whatever the fuck, just get her a fucking credit card. She's 17, she needs a credit card, right? Okay, anyway, apparently 6 months it took of fucking fighting between Barbie Trump and President Trump to get Tiffany a credit card.
Okay, one, I have absolutely no idea what you're talking about because I have never heard this story in my entire life. And two, I literally just want to say that, I've never owned a credit card. Right, okay. I don't have a credit card. I've never wanted a credit card, and I just don't.
Are you the only person in the world that doesn't have a credit card, or am I?
I don't. Well, maybe, but I've never, ever wanted a credit card. I understand.
How do you get instant credit? Like, if you need, like, $5,000 in 22 hours, how do you get it? I shouldn't ask that. Sorry, this is not a question. Oh, fuck me.
Okay,
sorry.
So, no, okay, listen.
Sorry.
Listen.
That's, no. We're
I'm going to tell you something.
No, we're going back. No. So, can I just say something?
Settle down. Listen.
I forgot we were on air. I forgot we were on air. I'm sorry. I did not ask. Okay. No, Warren. You did not just ask that fucking question.
I can answer the question. Here's the thing. Listen. I don't buy things unless I have the money for it. Because what I've come to realize is that, one, the credit thing is a huge scam in our country. Yeah. And they want you to charge things that you don't like. Okay, if you don't really need something but you want it, okay, you charge it and you can get it right now, but you're going to pay a lot more for it because if it's expensive, you probably don't have enough money to pay it off right away, and then you're paying all these insurance charges. Okay. My concept was and has always been, if you don't have the money for it, you don't get to buy it. So there's no reason for me to have a credit card.
You are the greatest parent in the history of the world has ever seen.
What? No.
I'm serious. That argument, that belief is the greatest parental piece of advice that can ever be given. If you can't afford it, you can't have it right now.
Well, that's the thing. And honestly, and emergency-wise, if I've ever had an emergency, I have people in my family I can go to.
Okay.
But I'm going to be honest with you. I grew up initially, my parents were 17 and 18 when I was born. They were married illegally in high school in May when I was born in November, because at the time you couldn't marry somebody and still be in school. You had to leave if you were pregnant and got married. Okay. But my dad was the youngest son of an Episcopal priest, and my mother was the golden child of 4 children in her family. And so, they took that on. But we started out in a place. The first house they ever bought was in North Minneapolis. I remember the address. It was 3000 Girard Avenue North. And I'm going to be honest with you, it's not a great neighborhood. It's a tiny little house. They bought it for like, I think, $23,000 or something at the time. And it was, lived there a long time. And then we moved into other places that were not great. And over time, my parents, not so much my dad, but later my mom gained money. Yeah, like my dad was always the musician playing around, and he'd rather spend his money on big tips for the bartender and stuff so that he could get his drinks. And that was great for him. But my mom actually worked really hard to earn wealth. And over time, she has created some companies and some different things that I've worked in with her for years. We were in casting, but she also has a not-for-profit that's an anti-pollution not-for-profit, and also a handbag company. And also, after my stepfather passed away, she inherited a company from him. So, I'm going to say that right now I'm lucky to be in a position where money isn't really an issue for me, so I don't really need to have a credit card. But over time, growing up and in my 20s and having Noah and those things, sometimes it was hard. But my thought process was, why am I going to pay more for something that I don't really need because I want it right now than just earning the money for it and saving for it and buying it?
I suppose the argument of credit cards of middle class people is more the idea that, okay, our TV's busted. We need a new TV. That's $3,000.
What? TV costs $3,000. What the kind of TV are you buying?
Okay. We'll get a cheap one. $1,000. It's $1,000, right? Cheap one, $1,000, right? So a television costs $1,000, right? But
not here. I don't know what those Aussie dollars are, man.
What's a TV? What's an average fucking, I don't know, 45 TV cost in America?
Do it by inches, like diagonally across the screen.
Inches?
Yeah, inches, because we're Americans, God damn it.
Americans, hoo-yah, inches rule the world, man.
Exactly.
Inches.
We know better.
We're going to invade the world to meet we're going to make the world safe for inches.
So inches. The TV in my bedroom is like a 42-inch, okay? So it's like it's diagonally. So that TV right now, depending on what kind of TV it is, might cost you $400.
That's probably about where we're at the moment in Australia. Okay. That's probably, that's not that unrealistic. No, you're probably right. But now we've got a stage where 60 inches or something is where people want to be.
Well, I've got two 70 inches in the house.
One in the living room and one in the
in the.
Should we just ask?
Look, I'm sorry.
Can we just ask Peter North to come in to make a porn film? Fuck me. just I mean, let's just
That's a whole other conversation.
But size doesn't matter. Right. Size doesn't matter at all, right?
That's all right. It's girth, okay? Come on, we're just going to be honest.
Okay. So all right.
Settle down.
In the Mandingo world of the world. No, anyway. I don't even know what fuck I was talking about.
Because I mentioned girth. That was my fault. We were talking about televisions. It doesn't matter. The point is, I don't own a credit card. I've never owned a credit card.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And I don't plan on ever owning a credit card. So, and I feel like, okay, maybe that's because I have a different situation than a lot of people, which I understand. But I try to do what I can for the people around me that need help. So
you are a great supporter. You're a great humanitarian. You do amazing things. No. People may not realize just what Iris does. She's an amazing humanitarian. She's brilliant. Right? She's absolutely fucking brilliant. And if you...
I'll let you say I'm brilliant, but I don't know if I'm a great humanitarian.
You are. No,
I yell at people a lot. That's all.
There's even nothing wrong with just yelling at people. You're yelling at fascists, for fuck's sake. It's okay.
Do you know what I mean? Just like to cause a lot of problems. Yeah, that's just me.
Do you know what?
What?
If this was 1925 right now, for the one fascist you yell at right now might have mean the one less fascist had to be killed in 1940s.
But I don't live in 19...
But the whole but this is the whole idea. If we can stop it now, if we can stop, see what we're doing right now is we are reliving the 1920s, right? We are reliving the 1920s. No one can see it. I keep saying to people all the time, we are reliving it. We had this huge boost since the Australia, 29 years without a recession.
Not so much here.
Okay, right. Australia is now officially in recession. We didn't hit 30. It would have been nice to have hit 30, right? But we didn't hit 30. Right? 29 years, right? Australia is now officially in recession. However, here's the thing. We came out of the First World War, right? And all of these bullshit ideas started to resonate with people. That's where we are now. We've got Corona, COVID-19. We've got all the bullshit that's going around with the... I wish... Sometimes I wish everyone had a private school education. I wish everyone had the ability to fucking really study history, right? Now, the problem is that I know that there are some that do, and they say, that sounds good, I'll be another Hitler, all right? So I know, all right, so I know that that does happen. But
I suppose, yeah.
We are at the stage right now, a decision is going to be made. 2020 is going to go down in history as one of the pivotal years of history. Right? This is sure. This is our 1929, our 1933, our 1922, right? This is one of the pivotal fucking years of what we now know as the 21st century. Do we accept fascism or do we not? Right? It is that fucking simple. It really is. All right. I'm
just going to say, and you probably don't know this reference from a film from the 80s here, but I will go all Red Dawn on their shit. I swear to God. I'm not afraid to fight for freedom in this country, and I'm not afraid to fight against fascism. So
I don't even look. First of all, I don't believe that Red Dawn is even a real concept. Right, okay.
Well, see, I disagree. I think it is a real concept. I think it is. Even though it might be a little hyperbolic, I'm just saying to you that regardless of who thinks they're going to take our country here and turn it into some kind of crazy right-wing bullshit place like they have on The Handmaid's Tale or any other place like that, I don't think the majority of Americans are going to sit back and let that happen. I'm not saying we will be violent, but they're already being violent with us. So at some point, you just have to say enough of this shit. And then what do? We have to have enough people in our country who are brave enough to stand up against it. That doesn't necessarily mean physically, but maybe it does. So, I mean,
there used to be a catchphrase. I'll say this. I don't know how far I want to go with this. This is such a complicated fucking topic, right? But
everything.
Okay. But there was a catchphrase which was, in the military, elite soldiers are right wing.
Well, I mean,
wait, I haven't
okay, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead. Pause. Okay.
The super soldiers, the special forces, they're open-minded and they will make their own mind up when the shit happens. In other words, what it means is, put it into American terms. Okay, I can't really put. I will say, okay, in Australian terms.
Okay.
The commandos, they're probably, you know what? Yeah, they probably are kind of conservative. Yeah, they probably are, right?
Right.
The SASR, their whole concept of who they are, what they are built around, is to work with societies and governments for the best benefit of the people. They are not political. It's a little bit like, so now we put it into American terms. US Rangers. Yeah, they're probably more conservative than they are liberal, right? the Green Berets, U.S. Special Forces, Green Berets, they're actually pretty open-minded because they're not taught the same shit. They're taught to work with the people, listen to the people. They're political soldiers. They get that. So the SASR, the SAS in Britain, they get it. It's listening to people. Oh, I shouldn't be saying this shit. This is so... but it's the concept that do not believe that if the shit hits the fan that the army is going to be against you because you support Antifa. That is not the case, is what I'm trying to say.
One thing, there's no Antifa to support. But secondly...
Well, first of all, yes, you're right.
I don't think that. I do think we have a big racism problem in our military, as my brothers were both in different branches. They both saw it and spoke about it. And one of them started to kind of spout some stuff that they had heard, and we smacked him in his mouth and said, "Don't you ever say that shit again." And he realized that he was being influenced by a lot of the people who were in the lower ranks who had a lot of racism. But they're, the people in our country, in our military, I do believe, will understand the oath that they took. They will not stand up against American citizens. That's against their oath.
They will follow fucking oath they took. They will follow their regiment, their battalion officers, their regimental officers, their divisional officers. They will follow them. And then those officers will follow the oath they took to follow the Constitution.
I agree. And that's what's happening right now with the military realizing that Trump has kind of stepped over his bounds here, and also with our attorney general. They've actually just today put out some statements where they have reaffirmed that they will stand behind their oath in the Constitution, and they will not turn their weapons on American citizens. So hopefully this will quell some issues.
I hope so.
We'll see.
I think... Do you know what? I think this is going to be, what you and I are talking about right now, even though we're joking about it, we don't necessarily want to talk about it to huge degrees.
Oh, God, no.
It's upsetting and all the rest.
Yeah, it upsets me a whole lot, so yeah.
But I think we are right now sitting in one of the pivots of history.
Oh, I agree.
I really do believe that we are sitting right now in a pivot.
Yep.
And the thing is that which way that pivot will go, I can't guarantee. But we are in a pivot. And what's going to be fascinating is for the people to tell their grandchildren where they sat in that pivot. Because here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing. If you are 80 right now, okay, you're 25 years old, and you say, "I love fucking Trump, fuck Antifa, yeah, one party state, let's fucking go for it," right? It's 2060, 2070, 2080, right?
Yep.
2080, you're 65 years old. You've got great-grandchildren. What do you want to tell them that you sided with in the Great Split? Where do you want to say that? Do you want to tell them that it's a little bit? This is 2020, right? Okay. Let's say I can pull somebody out right now who's 95 years old. Oh my God! Sorry, give me a second. I just knocked my fucking earphones off. Hang on. Okay.
You got very excited and started flailing about.
My hands are going. Hang on. All right. So it's a little bit like we don't bring Granddad. What did you do in the war? Who did you side with? The Nazis. Oh.
Yeah. Well.
Right. Okay. Now and this is the thing. So in 2060, these grandparents are going to say, "Who did you side with when America went through their equivalency of the 1969?" Like, this is 1969 in America relived. It's a rebirth, right? So where are you going to stand? So if you want to say to me right now, in 1969, did I stand with equal rights, or did I believe in slavery? Oh, right? Make a fucking decision right now. Do you believe in equal rights for all, or do you believe in a fascist fucking state? Tell us now. Who are you?
I would
come on, tell us.
No, listen.
Now, tell us.
You say these things that have common sense, but here in America, we have people that are proud of their ignorance, that they are proud of their ignorance over different generations, that they are proud to say they stood up against black people having freedom, and
how can you be proud of that? How can you be proud?
Because there are people in our country.
Race?
Listen, there are people in our country.
How is that even sexy? How is that even sexy? How can you ever have sex with another human being when you say that? How is that even possible?
Well, can I just say, first of all, 98% of the country are not sexy. And secondly, okay, there's somebody for everybody, okay? And that means if you are a piece of shit racist, you're going to find another piece of shit racist to make babies with. And unfortunately, there's no license to have children, but any motherfucker can have them. But we have to have a license to have a car and drive one. So, I mean, honestly, there is overwhelming evidence of repeated and generational ignorance in our country. And nobody is born believing in any kind of religion. Nobody is born having hate in their souls. They are taught those things. And so we have a terrible problem in our country where 1/3 of our country wants to kill another 1/3 of our country, have no problem with doing it. And the other 1/3 of our country would just stand by and let them do it, because they wouldn't want to rock the boat or get involved because they're just not political or whatever. Okay. We have so many people that don't vote in our country, and what you say to them is, why aren't you voting? You don't like what's going on. You didn't vote. Everybody's the same. No, literally, the two parties are not the same.
Okay. I've got an answer to this. Do what Australia did. Make voting compulsory.
You can't make people do anything in America.
Well, you can. It's Australia. You just say it's the law, and that's what people do. If it's the law, people follow the law. And far-righters can't say it's wrong because it's the law, and they have to follow the law. Don't they?
No, right? What they would say here is that that's tyranny. That they have a right to not have the government know shit about them, and they don't have to do anything the government says.
So
they are sovereign citizens.
Sovereign citizens. I've never heard that before.
That is a terminology. That is a terminology
what does that mean?
Right-wing people.
Sovereign citizen. I don't kind of get what it means. I'll be honest with you.
Sovereign citizen. That they don't have any. Like the government can't tell them what to do, that they are, in their own mind, not a member of the United States because they have declared themselves sovereign citizens. They are their own country in and of themselves. Okay, so their individual rights mean more than anything in the world.
Okay, so I want to get this right. So Trump supporters are actually anarchists. Is that right?
Well, a lot of them are, yeah, right-wing anarchists.
So basically, the whole idea of the Trump support base is actually anarchy.
No, not necessarily, because a lot of them, especially because there's a lot of them that are evangelical Christians here, evangelical Protestants. But they're not Christians. They were raised to believe in authoritarian.
Yeah, but they're not Christians. They're not religious. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm going to say this. And if you are one who is listening to this show, well, then fuck you. I don't care. We lost one listener. Deal with it. Right? Okay? You're not Christian. Those evangelicists, right, that you call them, they're not Christians. They're fucking not Christians. They are not.
The thing is, though, Warren, Christians. I'm not a Christian. I'm not going to say who's a Christian and who's not because I think it's all bullshit.
I fucking will.
But
now, I'm going to shut up now and let you say what you want to say. But I will just say this: they're not fucking Christians. They're not. They are not Christian believers. Anyway, go for it.
Oh no, I was just going to say I'm not a Christian. I was raised.
Well, neither am I, but neither are they. Well, that's the whole point.
They think they are, and they believe they are, and
no,
they're
not.
They're not.
No, they're not.
Well, you can say that, but we have
They're
lots
liars.
of different
They're liars.
branches of Christianity.
They're fucking liars. Okay, there is a difference between believing. Okay, there is a difference in the various different ideologies of how they view what Christ says. Now, okay, if we really want to go down to the basis, we have to go say, what did the New Testament? Now, that's what Christianity is, because if you don't believe in that, you're a Jew. All right?
I agree.
So, the New Testament. So, if you believe in the New Testament, which means you are a Christian, you have to believe in the teachings of Jesus. Now, here's my huge problem. I don't even believe Jesus was a person. Okay?
Right.
Now, that's because I'm an I best say I was
You almost said it. It's okay to say you're an anarchist.
That's a fucking Freudian. Okay, that's a Freudian slip. And
I know. I like that. That's funny.
But okay, I do not believe in government-linked religion.
No.
In the fact that, and also, I don't even believe Christianity is real. I do not believe that. Okay, this is my personal belief. And you, Irish, can tell me I'm an asshole, and that's fine. Listeners can tell me. Well, I might,
but that might be for something different. Okay. Go ahead.
I don't believe Jesus was a real person, all right? I believe that Jesus was a belief in a concept, okay? All of the writings come 200 years after this supposed person died anyway, okay? I believe it's all about also Roman history, and also Jewish Israeli history has no record of this guy at all.
I know.
At all. Does not exist. Roman Israeli history. Nothing. Right? All Italian history. All Italian history. Right? That's what you're basing yourself on. Right? So just remember this, Christians. You're all on the hinge of Italian realism. Right? Okay? So when your fucking Maserati start in the morning, right? You're all linking it on this, right?
Where are you going with this, Warren?
Basically, it's all bullshit. Well, apart from that.
I mean...
It's all bullshit. Okay. Well, was there a subset? Or
there was a subject. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm not an atheist because I was raised on my dad's side. My dad's father was an Episcopal priest, which is like Anglican Catholic. It's basically exactly the same as Catholic, except they don't follow the Pope and they don't pray to saints and the Virgin Mary. It's literally the same rites and all that shit. Yeah, but priests can get married in the Episcopal Church. And they tend to be...
Sorry. Can I just go back? As they can in the Anglican Church.
No, it is the Anglican Church, okay? But the Roman Catholic, they do not get married. Okay.
No, I understand that.
So,
but how do they...
Here in America is the Episcopal Church is the Anglican Church. It is the Church of England. We call it the Episcopal Church.
So you had to rename it. It's like the fight for freedom. It's like you couldn't actually give it its own name, so you had to rename it. Is that right? Basically,
the American Church of England, because that's the Church of England, is called the Episcopal
American Church of England. Oh, fuck me.
Okay.
Seriously,
so my grandfather.
Seriously, can I just interrupt for a second?
Yeah, go ahead.
Seriously, guys, are you that patriotic you can't just say, accept history? Really? I've got my arms out right now going, like, Catholic, we all know Catholic is Rome. We all know that. Seriously? You are that fucking patriotic in your own national identity? Okay.
I don't know what it is. It's just that it's in America, so they couldn't call it necessarily the Church of England. So anyway, that aside, on my dad's side, I was raised as that. Okay, so every summer, I spent a month with my grandparents. I would go to Bible school and all this stuff. I've read the Bible a million times. I know all this shit.
I went to Sunday school. My mother forced me, even though my father fought her, apparently. But my mother forced me to go to Sunday school. Yeah, I know. Please continue.
So, on my mother's side of the family, my grandmother was a spiritualist reincarnationist, descended from Druids in Ireland. So there's this weird pagan shit kind of on my mom's side.
I get the pagan
this
shit.
This Anglican Catholic shit on my dad's side.
Yeah, but I kind of get the pagan shit more than I get the Christian shit. So.
Oh well, okay, so yeah, so
I'm actually. If someone has to say, okay, civil war's declared, pagan Christian, who are you going to go with? I'm going to fucking side with the pagans.
Oh, fucking pagans all day long, man. They have the good parties.
No. I get the. I kind of.
So. But what I consider myself to be at this point is a deist, in the sense that I do believe that there is probably something out there that has a bigger consciousness, or that there was some kind of a creator, but I do not believe that they invest time in whether or not we do like what we do during the day. If you pray for your baseball team to win, they're not hearing that shit. I feel like it was kind of like a Johnny Appleseed that threw the seeds out and just went on and didn't give a shit, you know?
Okay. So basically, from what I can hear, you're a pantheist. You're a pantheist. You are. You believe in a greater spirit, but the greater spirit. Well,
I'm not saying I necessarily think it's a spirit. I'm saying I think that there was something.
Okay, no, forget. No, that's an American term. I want to rephrase that.
Oh, I don't think you meant ghost.
Okay, a greater good, right?
No.
You believe in a greater good which is isolated somewhere.
No, I do not. What I believe is that something created us in a sense of, like, the Big Bang, in a sense, was that moment of creation that they talk about in the Bible. They don't know what the fuck it is.
So, no, it's science. You believe in science.
Yes, I do believe in science, but I also believe that because we have consciousness, that there might be a being before us that had it, but that doesn't mean that we were created. That doesn't mean that we were created intentionally
I get what you're saying.
Like what they're saying, and that they want us to worship them. They probably don't even fucking know we exist.
Right. The concept is a little bit like I'm sitting in my room and I've got all of these life buds, and I put them into my airsoft pistol and I go, life bud, bang!
Yeah.
And off it goes, right? And that experience goes on for millions of years that I have nothing to do with. Right?
Exactly, and you don't give a fuck about either.
Right, and I don't give a fuck about it. I just said, fuck you, I've got 5 shots.
Right. And
then I go, life experience 2. Bang! There you go. And they have nothing to do with us.
I kind of feel like that before the moment of the Big Bang is that when everything that is now was compressed into the singularity, okay? Everything that is what we are everywhere was in that moment before the Big Bang was this one thing. And then when it happened, and then if it had consciousness, the only thing it knew was to be this one thing. The only thing it didn't know was to be something else than other what it was. So I'm not saying it has consciousness, but at that moment, it exploded out and became everything.
I have a slightly different belief, and this is I'll be honest with you, because the way you Americans love to talk about everything, I will say religious belief, because everything you do, you talk about fucking guns and it's religious. Fuck me, I just thought it was about shooting a Glock. But fucking suddenly shooting a Glock is a religious experience, for fuck's sake.
Well, that just means it makes them, not feel so bad about their small penis.
But my attitude, which is based on a, can I give you 2 minutes to explain my family history? Is that all right?
Sure.
Which is basically non-religious. In other words, religious, yes, but when you kind of had to. In other words, yeah, we'll do this because, hey, we can enter this school. Yeah, we're this because we can do this.
Okay.
Okay. My family were devoutly Catholic.
Okay.
We then became Protestants who became atheists. Right?
Wow.
And all of this this dates back from the French Revolution, when my family tried to escape France because they were rich fuckers, right? Tried to run away from the guillotine, okay?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. They were the original refugees in the day when refugees were okay because they were fucking rich, right? And that's okay because we're allowed.
Are you trying to make me be impressed by your history? Is that what you're doing?
Well, yeah. Well, to be honest with you, yeah, I am actually. But,
well, good because I could brag about mine too.
Anyway, so they arrive. So this is my father's side. This is not my mother's side. This is my father's side.
Right. Okay.
So they arrive in Britain, and then they decide, oh shit, we really actually should be British. Like, in other words, they do this whole cultural thing. We've got to, like, this whole Donald Trump thing, right? And George II, right, the Mad King, and they fucking do. They fucking, with their money, they buy commissions in the British Army, and they go and fight the French in Spain, right?
Oh, okay.
They fight in the Peninsular War in Spain against Napoleon. To which a third guy goes, oh, gee, there's this really hot Jewish fucking chick that I've fallen in love with, right? Right.
Okay.
Who then he then fucking says, fuck you, family, brings back and marries, all right?
Right.
To which my family then says, holy fucking Christ, what are we going to do? We've got, not only is she Spanish, but she's Jewish. Oh, fuck me. What are we going to do? Right? So my family unbelievably rewrites her history.
Okay.
They rewrite her history, okay? And suddenly this incredibly dark-skinned woman who knows nothing about Christianity from this mythical, I don't know where the fuck she's from, but apparently she's this incredibly white-skinned fucking, right? And her whole entire identity is made up, right? It's totally fucking made up, right?
That's weird.
Okay. Right, so we get this. So anyway, so we get this. So we've now got the fucking dark-skinned, fucking Spanish, Jewish into my family, which, be honest with you, I'm very proud of. Don't get me wrong.
We should be, yeah. Everybody needs a little color in their family.
No, I'm a big supporter of Israel. Everyone who knows me knows that. Anyway, so we've got this, right? So she's there now. We have the children and all the rest of it. But there's still, the family is still passed on, even though she is not. The children have still passed on Catholicism, all right, in the family.
Right.
Because it's French refugees, okay?
Right,
not Protestant like the British nation is, all right? And then suddenly all fuck broke loose because someone in the family, and I'm not going into huge depths about this, but basically they decided they were going to marry a Protestant.
Ooh.
Yes.
Shocking.
Now, our family, okay, my father's family, I want to say my father's family split, and it became Catholic versus Protestant within Britain, okay?
Okay.
Now, my father fell under the Protestant fall, which was, we split, we have nothing, we're poor as shit, okay?
Right.
The Catholics in the family remained and inherited the estate, okay?
Mm-hmm.
As of 1940, where are we at? Like, let's say 1950s, right? Early 1950s. One side of the family is rich as all fuck. They have, I'm not going to say it because I just don't want to say it because it's...
Well, don't say it then.
Okay. There's a fucking baron, right? Okay. My father has come from a family which escaped Britain to go to the New World, Canada and the United States. All right? Which the family split, because half of the family then went to Canada, half went to the United States. In Australia, right now, we're doing fucking well. Jesus Christ, we're doing really well, okay?
Right.
I have a relative, and how do I say this? I would just say had made contact with a relative of the split, if you get what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
Had gone back.
Family tree connections, yeah.
He said, I'm part of the split of the family, of the Protestant Catholic split in Britain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here. I want to say hi. I want to remake contact, right?
Right, yeah.
Do you know what they were told by the representative? This did not come from an individual. This is from the fucking family website.
Oh, shit, okay. No contact?
Do never contact us again.
Oh, my God, what? That's crazy.
I'm not joking. My auntie, who just recently died, okay, she was so pissed off with the British or the English concept of family and how it worked, she actually moved to Edinburgh to declare herself a Scot.
Okay.
Now, in saying this, though, that's really, really, really bullshit, because the Scots still have their whole idea of fucking family. I don't believe I should not be saying this on air. This is so wrong.
Well, you don't have to say it on air if you don't want to.
We are on fucking air.
Go back. Well, yeah, but you could go back and re-record over it if you want to, if you're really worried about it.
No, it's okay. I'm an Australian. We're all fucking rebels. It doesn't matter.
Then, you know, suck it up and deal with it, man.
No, we do, as in Eureka. Fucking Eureka. Have you ever heard of Eureka as an American?
Well, I mean, I don't know in regards to what you're saying. We had a terrible TV show called that. So, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, do you know we had 1776, Eureka. We had a fight against British nationalism. We actually tried to form an independent state.
Oh.
Under Eureka.
No, I don't know anything about that because Americans don't learn about world history.
Okay, it lasted about 15 minutes, all right? Because unfortunately, men with guns don't last against armies. All right?
That is true.
And I hate to say this to you right-wing fuck whites. If you want to come out and do the street in November for Trump, you know what? An American paratrooper will have your ass. All right? I would just say that. All right?
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, honestly, what militia would be able to fight back against the American?
I'm sorry, are you trying to tell me that an American airborne soldier from the 82nd Airborne Division is a match for the Louisiana militia? No,
there's not even a whole Louisiana militia. It's not a state. It's fine.
You know what I mean. Sorry.
I do. No, you're fine.
Okay. You know what I mean.
You're funny. I do know what you're doing.
I'm trying to support you guys without any understanding of what the fuck is going on, right? So,
yeah. Basically, we're just being taken over by fascists, and one party of ours is doing nothing to stop it. The rest of us are trying.
Do you know what? All I say from this is if I support you, which I have, unquestionably, right, through all of this, the next time we need your help, is it all right if you help us? Because the last
Well, you know what? Honestly, yeah, because I think whoever's up next, y'all just tell us what you need, because this is some bullshit.
Well, you know, the last time we asked help from you guys, from all the support, Korea, Vietnam, right? And
I don't run this country. If I did, shit would be different.
East Timor, right? We said, America, give us help. Do you know what you said?
No, I don't know.
We'll send you some flat jackets and ammunition. Is that all right?
Yeah, see, dude, I don't know. I can't defend our military for shit. So
I'm talking about your government.
No, but the government controls the military at this point. So, yeah, I can't, I can't say anything about it because I don't know enough about that. I just don't. I'll be honest with you.
But here's the whole thing, right? If at the end of the year, if America decides to go fascist, right? If that... No, I'm being serious because, seriously, if Trump wins, that is a serious concept. That's a political decision, right?
Well, maybe, because we have some questions about the legitimacy of the last election.
No. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is that, yes, there are legitimacies of the last election in Russian interference, which they do. Yes, ask a fucking Finnish person. Yes, they do.
Oh, I know they do.
Right? Okay. Right. Ask the Ukrainian. Ask a Latvian. Ask a fucking Lithuanian. Right? Okay, yes, they do. All right? They're pricks. Yeah. But there's nothing against an individual Russian person, because I love...
Oh, no, you're talking about the state of Russia and Putin himself and his people, I
love Lena Kasina. Fuck her more than death. Oh, my God, I want to marry her tomorrow. Lena Kasina, Jesus Christ, just be my wife tomorrow. I mean, seriously.
Okay.
She's the most beautiful woman who ever worked. Oh, anyway. You know, it's a tattoo. You never heard. Anyway, don't worry. But what I was trying to say in a drunken, oh my God.
I know. And then we have to take a break.
Okay. Which it's just fucking support democracy, guys. It's what it's about, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You used to say, I believe in gun rights. I believe in this. I believe in this. Yeah. Okay. I get that you do, right? I get that you do, right? However, the party and the ideology and the person that you've decided to throw your lot behind does not support what you believe. All right? This is what I'm trying to tell you guys, right? Because if in 15 years you want to march down the street talking about the rights of the AK owner, you will be shot, because that's the country you created.
That's true.
Right?
That's true, yeah.
So if you really want a world where you can sit in your living room and you can tweet and fucking YouTube about your love of the AK-47, which is not a real rifle, by the way.
Thank you.
It's called a fucking AK, not an AK-47, right? It's called an AK, right? If you want to tweet about that, then you cannot support Donald Trump, because he is the man trying to stop that.
Well, he's not, though.
No, he is. No, but seriously, if you make him president for fucking 7 years, I will tell you right now, he will stop you tweeting about that. Because
that's already happening.
You may be a threat to his presidency.
Yeah,
so he will stop you.
I think here's the thing. We're not going to let him be president anymore after this. He's going to be gone one way or the other. All right, we have to take a break, because I need a break.
We do, because otherwise my leather chair is about to go liquid. All right, so...
that's too much information, man.
Just fuck me, I'm Australian. You know what I
mean? I know, I'm teasing you. All right, let's take a break and then we'll come back.
Good idea. Well, we are back, and you know what? We've been talking for almost 2.5 hours, and I really think that I don't think anyone wants to hear any more tonight, right? About what we've got to say. So, in fact, I think we made a promise that this show was only going to be an hour and a half.
I didn't make nobody any promises. I never make promises.
Okay. Maybe it was a promise I made with myself, based on past ideologies.
That was your mistake right there.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so that's the show. All right.
That is the show tonight. Yeah.
Look, we'll be back next week. We'll have some more to talk about, and there's something I wanted to talk about this week, which we will talk about next week, which is an important issue for me. But we will come back to it next week. Anything else you want to say? Anything else you want to sum up, or just? I don't know.
I just want to say thank you to all the people in the streets coming out and supporting each other in this country against what's going on. And that's it.
And I suppose all I can say is in Australia, Black Lives Matter Australia, or against deaths in custody, which is really what more Black Lives Matter is in Australia. Because I know we're a different country.
It overlaps.
With a different culture. It's not the same thing. All right. Okay. We support you guys, but we have our own issues, if you get what I'm trying to say.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And it was wonderful to see in Melbourne and Sydney, Brisbane, 5,000 people at each demonstration while we were under lockdown. Now, I want to get this straight, right? I have seen so many people post, I support this, but I can't come out. All right?
Well, I understand some people are at risk.
Right. So I fully understand that. Even the government, now I have to say this to you, Loris, the Australian government said, we do not want you to believe that we are against Black Lives Matter. This is the Australian government, right? We are not saying we are against it. What we are pleading with you is do not create a situation where we have a second infestation of COVID-19.
Right.
What the Australian government was saying was that they were not supporting it one way or the other. Their argument was it was very much an American issue, which is not for us. And that's fair enough. The Australian government, it's a bit hard for them to take sides, if you get what I'm saying, in that, right? But what they were saying was that please don't go out on the streets. Well, you know what? For each city, around about 4,000 to 5,000 people did. In American standards, maybe that's small. I don't know. I really don't know if 5,000 people in a demonstration is small. I don't.
Depends on the city.
Right.
And here in Orlando, that would be massive. But in Chicago or somewhere like that, not as much.
Okay. In Wagga Wagga, 1,000 people demonstrated. Wagga Wagga. That's fucking a tiny little town. That's a nothing town. Wagga Wagga.
That's amazing.
We love Wagga Wagga because of its name. It's just so fucking cool. Wagga Wagga.
Pretty good.
1,000 people came out to march down the street. All right?
Yeah.
In Melbourne, every single person who marched down the street was threatened with a $1,650,000 fine if you marched. Right?
Ah, okay.
Okay, just wait. They all marched, 5,000 of them, and the police issued 0 fines.
Yeah, well, wouldn't be happening here.
Now, I know Australia is not America. What I was trying to say by all of this is that for everyone in America who is listening, all 25 of you, but you know what I'm trying to say? If you're in America and you're listening, you're not alone, mate. Right? Okay, mate, you're not alone. The world hears you, is what I'm trying to say.
We appreciate that. We do. Right? We do appreciate it.
We are there for you. And yes, we have our own twists to it all, but we hear you. We support you. We're behind you. Even our own Prime Minister said, I don't want you to demonstrate, but I understand why you want to. Right. That's our fucking Prime Minister. I don't want you to because of COVID-19, but I understand why you want to.
Well, we do recognize people all over the world that are coming out in support of what's happening here. We see it, and we really, really appreciate it. It makes us feel like we're not alone. So thank you guys.
So, yes, I just want to, look, it's just that we're with you. We support you. We understand because you are the premises. If you can fight the fascist fucking ideologues, if you can defeat it, it ends. Like, it fucking ends. If you get what I'm trying to say. Like,
I do.
You are the epicenter of the fight. Right?
I agree. I agree. We are here.
Like you are the Maginot Line.
Yep.
Right?
I agree.
And if anyone doesn't know what the Maginot Line, fucking Google it. And if you don't, ask your fucking school teacher for a refund. Okay?
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, right? That's not going on here. Okay.
You are the Maginot Line. And you know what? We are the British, the Canadians, the Indians, the South Africans, the Australians who stood in behind you to say, we will stop fascism on this line. This is the line. The French, the British, the Indians, the Australians, the Canadians, the New Zealanders, the South Africans, the Zimbabweans, who stood there and said, fascism will end at this line. Now, we lost that fight. I will freely admit that. But we were able, with the help of a certain nation, well, actually, I'll rephrase that. We were actually able to do that with the help of two nations to come back and defeat fascism.
Right.
Let's not even get to 1939.
We can't, because we're supposed to be ending the show, remember?
We are. I just wanted to...
I know. You got stuff to say, I know. I don't want to tell you.
I just want to tell people that stop it, all right?
That's how I feel, too. Stop it.
Just
exactly it.
I'm sorry. I'm getting all emotional, and I will stop.
No, don't be emotional. Look, I understand, and I get it.
Stop it. Do it time to stop it. So anyway, all right. Okay. Do you have any fucking, I don't know, social media things you want to post? Is there anything you want to say other than goodbye? Go for it.
No, I mean, I'm on Twitter. My political stuff is on @Naked Axiom, and also my just personal shit is on @The Irish Stewart, STEWART.
All right. So everyone,
yes.
Just say everyone follow those. If you're listening, can you please follow those? All right. Mine is it's irrelevant because I'm a shithead. All right. So don't worry about me. But follow. Okay. No, I'm being serious. I'm a fucking asshole. Follow fucking. Follow.
Okay, you gotta stop, man.
What have I got to say? I'm a nobody, right? Okay.
Nobody's anybody, okay? None of us are anybody.
No, follow the important people, all right? So do it, all right? Follow, all right? All right, that's the show. All right, cool. We'll be back. We'll be back next week, and we will look at whether the world has imploded or we're still here, I suppose. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, and I might buy some socks this week. So that's
all right, exciting. and we also have to decide we've already decided cream or no cream. The cream is wrong. I still don't know. We've quite come to the terms about gin versus vodka.
Look, we're gonna disagree with that. That's just we're just gonna have to agree to disagree.
Should we fight a civil war? Should I form an army? I don't know. I'm just
I might just hurl insults at you. That would be enough. But we're not going to do that because we're getting off of here now because nobody wants to listen to us gripe at each other anymore.
True. That's very true. All right. No worries. All right. So we'll be back this week and hope you enjoyed the show. I really do hope you enjoyed the show. All right.
I always enjoy the show.
And if there's, okay. And yes, it is two friends drinking cocktails, talking conversation about their lives. If you don't like that, don't listen. If you do like it, please continue to listen, all right? And please continue to subscribe, whether that be on iTunes, whether it be on... I don't even know.
I don't even know what you put it on. The website will be up this week. So.
Okay. So can we say the website will be up in the next week?
Yeah, it will be up this week. It's just not up yet. So, then we'll tell them.
All right. So after that, we don't even have to say listen on blah, 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 blah. We just
they just go to the website.
All right. So because at the moment, we have about 15 different fucking ways you can view this show. All right. Whether it be Google this or Apple this or... All right.
Yeah, so, because we love wondrous variety.
We are. We're Democrats, aren't we? Well,
yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
I can't believe I just said that, but it just came naturally. I don't know if that's
that's wonderful.
Yeah, okay. I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that. We'll be back next week with another great show. Please listen and
say hi on Twitter.
Yes. Please say hi on Twitter to both of us and I'm going to pass out now because I'm fucking drunk. All right, let's leave it. We'll talk to you next week.
Right, bye.
Cheers, guys. Cheers.